Welcome there, nerds. We are back. It's been a while. Like that Stain song. It's been a while since I
Exactly.
fuck things up. No, I'm kidding. How we doing, buddy? We're back. This is the Alpha Nerds.
I'm doing all right. Chill night. Went and bought a cultivator today. I gotta cultivate some
Oh,
fucking land, dude.
fuck yeah.
Turns out like ripping up old flower beds that haven't been taken care of in probably 4 or 5 years. They're just full of weeds. Really trying task. Did a little bit the other day. Replaced a flower bed that was around my pool. It was only about 4x4. Felt like my back was gonna fall apart because I didn't have the right tools. So
Hold up. You bought a pool?
a pool?
Yeah.
No, a light pool. A
I,
light
I
pool.
see.
I
I
got a
heard
light pool in my
pool.
front yard. Yeah.
I'm like, hold on. It was like, what? But
No,
that's
I don't
awesome.
want a pool. They say it's one of the worst investments you can make in a house.
They are a pain in the ass.
Yep. They say it's one of the worst things you can do for your house is buy a pool because they never get the money back out of it.
Yeah. Now say if had you bought the house and a pool was already there, would you remove it?
No, because I'm not a fucking asshole, especially
So
if it was built into my
yeah,
deck.
yeah. So if your deck was specifically designed for a pool, you wouldn't remove the pool. You would just
No.
leave it there.
Looking at you, Watson Thompson.
No. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot we know a guy like that.
Oh
Man.
yeah. Someone who bought a house with a beautiful pool that was already built and has a child, and his deck is built around a pool, and he's like, I'm getting rid of this thing.
He's never getting rid of that pool. I don't believe him.
Yeah, he's like, oh, my kids can swim in the lake or the river. All right, man.
Uh, Watson, shout out to Watson Thompson. You're an idiot, but we love you.
Dude, he's called me. I want you to know, he's called me 3 times tonight, right?
Yeah.
I miss his call. I'll call him back a minute later and he won't answer the phone.
Phone.
Drives me
No.
nuts.
There are certain things that stop being acceptable as we get older. Phone tag is one of them.
Like if you call me and I miss your call, hold on to your phone for like
Yeah.
5 minutes, right? Because like I'm probably gonna see it and call you back.
Yeah. Or if I missed the call, shoot me a fucking text. Hey, bud, give me a call when you get a chance. Then the ball is in my court. And if I choose to call you, I choose to call you. If I don't, then
Yeah.
I don't. But I just feel like phone tag is like the most irritating thing in the world as like a grown adult. You're like,
Yes, I agree.
so. So you dealing with the flower bed. You're getting housework done. Anything else going on, buddy?
No, not really. That's mainly taking up a lot of my time. There's a lot of weird things, when you have a house that you got to manage and deal with. Making sure your house looks presentable is important to me.
Yeah,
I don't
I
want
agree.
I don't want to be the guy with the ugly house on the street,
Yeah, you
So
can't have it. And it's how you
yeah,
assert your dominance over your neighbors. Like, I have a nicer
yeah,
yard than you.
exactly, exactly. Like my neighbors mow their lawn, and I mow them lawn, and I'm like, yeah, mine's better.
Yeah,
It's immediate.
it's just natural competition. Like, it's what it is.
Yes, yes.
And
I
anyone
want
who
to
says
build.
otherwise is lying.
I want to build a brick wall around my front yard. Build the wall because none of my other neighbors have anything nice in their front yard. And I'm like, I want to be the one with like the nice brick
Yeah,
wall.
I
In my
support
front
that.
yard.
I'll help you build it. I'm in.
Gonna build the wall.
Yeah, I'm in. I mean, I don't think masonry is that hard. Doesn't look that hard.
Build the wall 2024.
Yeah, I'm in. That's why I support.
You're right. Masonry is probably the most extreme blue color work there is.
So you don't think between two grown adults we couldn't build a brick wall? Like, we
No. Could and hard are very different things, Pedro. Because we're gonna see what we gotta do is we gotta dig the footer.
Yeah.
All right. You gotta dig the footer below the frost line, right?
Correct. I'm with you.
Gotta fill the footer up with concrete. Then we gotta lay the the blocks on top of it, and we're talking, probably 100 blocks,
Yeah.
and then those each one of those blocks is probably I don't know how much a block weighs, a significant weight, and then once the blocks are all laid up and hard, then we gotta put the bricks up, and we're talking a lot of bricks.
I think we could handle it.
I mean, we could handle it. We could do
Yeah.
it. It's just it's gonna be backbreaking labor.
Speaking of backbreaking labor, so I've recently started getting my fitness back, like really
Putting this
focusing on
dick in your mouth.
hey. But anyway, I've been getting to not be fat. Like, I'm trying not really hard to not be fat. Like, that's kind of my goal through my 30s. Like, all right, we're gonna at some point in our 30s, we're just gonna not be fat. So I've been instead of lifting weights, I've been focusing a lot more on calisthenics and cardio.
Okay.
And I was doing my cardio day on Friday after work, and I did 30 burpees, and I was like, man, I feel really good about myself at like my age and size. I'm like, all right, I can still do burpees, still have a little athletic ability. So I'm like, all right. And then like I got home and I'm sitting on my couch, and all of a sudden I felt my back start tightening up.
Yep. 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 I knew exactly where this was going.
Yeah, so I'm fine. I just still feel a little tightness in the back.
Yep.
And then literally I was laying in bed and my whole body was just sore. Like we were just sore like a motherfucker. And I woke up the next day extremely sore. And I'm like, oh wow. My body's like, oh, like you thought this was a game? Like, like what are we doing here? Burpees? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've been spending this weekend just being sore. I was gonna lift today, but then like I woke up and was still extremely sore. And what I've been noticing, if you lift while sore, you fuck your form up anyway. Like it's because like you're in pain.
A
So
lot of
yeah,
really high end bodybuilders and professionals say you shouldn't lift when you're sore.
yeah, and I'm noticing that because I did that 2 weeks ago when I was like really sore, and I'm like, all right, now it's still my day to go and work out. So I did like 50 squats while sore, and I was like, my legs were like, dude, no, 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 no. So
I always did. I always worked out when sore because
yeah,
my mental feeling about it is I gotta create the habit, right?
yeah, that's what
And
I was.
if I don't just commit and create the habit, I'm just giving myself more of an excuse. I'm not a disciplined enough person to be like, all right, I'm gonna take 3 days off while my body recovers at first,
Yeah,
because then I think the chance is way too high not to go to the gym.
I agree. And to my credit, thankfully, I've been able to stay disciplined. But it's just like my body. Like I got to start learning my body, like how my body's changed. Because like in my 20s, I'll be like, yeah, I'm great, we're fucking, let's go. But like now, I'm like,
I had
dude,
this epiphany the other day that I think is important
mm-hmm.
for people to listen to and hear. My gym membership, they raised the price of my gym membership over the course of the years, right? It started at
For real?
$45. They
Huh?
started at $45 a month when they first opened up like 5 years ago. It's now $70 a month.
At the Y?
I don't go to the Y. I go to there's this gym in Lock Haven that I was going to, right? And I'm like, that's unacceptable. So I got to make my way over to cancel the gym membership. And then I'm like, well, what am I going to do to work out? And then I'm like, well, how much would it cost for me to finance like home gym equipment?
Probably not much. You can get it's
Probably
fairly
not
cheap on, yeah.
$70 a month, right? Like I could
No,
probably finance that for almost nothing.
I thought they had a gym at your job.
They have like they have like a gym, but it's not, there's no weights, right? There's like it's all machines and stuff. I could work out there, but I generally hate how much time I spend at my workplace anyway, so I don't want to be there.
I
I was
get
thinking
that.
about I cleared my garage out. I'm gonna do something with my garage. I don't know what yet, but I'm thinking about getting like one of those all-in-one home gyms, like a Bowflex almost, and see if I could just put that there. I have a bunch of weights already. Dad has a bench press in his basement. I'm thinking about doing that. We'll
Well,
see.
it depends on what you want to do, because like as you get older, like doing like, I mean, unless you're bodybuilding, like bench press and all that other shit is gonna fuck your joints up. Like so, like it it just depends on what you're trying to do. Like me, I'm just trying to be healthy. Like I don't need to be yacked. I don't need to be fucking world's strongest man. So I do more calisthenics and body weight stuff to keep my body just strong. Because like, not that I want children or anything like that right now, but if for some reason I were to have children, or even like when I'm around my own nephews, I want to be able to like run around, and like I still want to be able to like be active. Like, and that's kind of my biggest thing.
Yeah, I want to be as strong as humanly possible.
Yeah.
So
Listen, I wish you luck.
I desperately want to be part of the 1,000 pound club. I made it a senior in high school. I did it,
On football.
and yeah, and I desperately want to be part of the 1,000 pound club
I
again.
could never. I was too. I hated bench press. That was like the workout I fucking hated the most. Like
Yeah,
so,
bench press is annoying.
I liked squats and deadlifts, but like I just never bench press for some reason. Like I think my max ever was like probably 240, 250.
I mean,
Like
that's
I just
respectable.
yeah for a teenager, but then like at that, and that's as high as it ever went.
Most people never get into the 200s in bench press.
Well, like
That's the reality.
well, like you're supposed to. Because I think in high school, like you're supposed to be able to bench your own body weight at least, or at least that was what I'm pretty sure that was what the standard was. So like I was like 220 in high school, 220, 225. So I was like being able to bench at least that was like, all right, we're good. But yeah, but like fitness now, it's just like people are asking me, oh, like what are you doing to get gains? I'm like, nobody gives a fuck about that, right? Like if you do, good for you. But like for me, it's just like do my treadmill for 20 to 30 minutes and then go get the rest of my cardio in, and maybe do some lightweight high rep stuff. But other than that, man, like I'm not trying to fucking sit there and be like Mr. Olympia. Like, nah,
Now,
not gonna
where
happen.
do we fall on the TRT treatment?
I'm ready. I can't wait for fucking TRT.
I went and got tested. Did I ever tell you this?
No,
I went and got tested. I was praying that I was like a
you're
little below.
you're too young, dude.
Yeah. Well, I was, and my testosterone came back fine. My testosterone was fine. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, no, dude. If I ever get on the TRT, we're going full Vita Belfort. Like we're going.
Shoulders the size of bowling balls.
Yeah, like when I turn 35, I'm gonna go get tested. Like, yo, what's up? Like, so I got like another year yet. So actually, ironically, I was Adam was over yesterday, and we were just sitting on the. It was a weird day. Like it was like a day we would do in our 20s. So he just came over and we like kind of just hung out, and we were watching. We went down the YouTube rabbit hole, and I was showing him pride fighting.
Oh God.
And he like some of his reactions to like the knockouts were like, how is that legal? I'm like, in Pride it was.
Just
like
soccer kicking dudes in the head.
Kicks. But then like
yeah,
I showed him, so it's funny because there was a couple of like young Alistair Overeem getting knocked out, and like no, you see how like skinny this guy is, and I showed him Ubereem.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like that's, and then I showed him TRT Belfort. I'm like, this is why I'm telling you, buddy. Like when we hit our upper 30s, we're getting on the T. Like that's it. We're getting on the T.
Yeah, gotta happen. Donald Cerrone is like doing all kinds of interviews.
Yeah, get on the T.
He's openly like, yeah, now that I'm retired, I'm taking all kinds of steroids. I'm like, hell yeah. So I'm talking about, dude. Let's do it.
I think it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the UFC, did you watch any of it this weekend?
No.
Neither did I. It was like a really lame card.
Well, I mean, Jose Aldo was fighting.
Do you find it like it's hard to like respect him?
Yeah, not people are always like, oh, McGregor this, McGregor that. I have more of an issue with how he handled the loss after McGregor beat him. That really upset me because he dead ass wanted the UFC at one point to just reinstate the belt to him.
Yeah.
Did you know this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because McGregor wasn't defending her, he was going up to lightweight, and he was like, oh, he was like throwing a fit. He was being so weird about it.
I don't know. I just feel like there should be like a case study on like how to mentally break a man, because I feel like, and I feel like Conor hasn't done this since. Like, I feel like Conor talked so much monumental shit and played just fucking mental warfare on him.
Yeah,
and he like literally just broke that man. And I and although we'll probably never admit it ever that was the case, but like you can like tell, like you could just tell. Like all the little jokes and the fucking all the shit he did to him, like got him so bad that he fucking lost his form and just got knocked the fuck out in a second.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, so wild stuff. But aside from the gym stuff, I've been doing really well. Life's been great, buddy. I've been real comfortable here in the place. My couch finally showed up and I assembled that, and that was a good time.
Good.
Yeah, so the living room's real cozy. I've been playing a shitload of games. Like I'm feeling that like true love for video games coming back. Like I have always loved video games, but like there are times where I'm like, whatever. Like I can go weeks without playing a video game and be fine. And probably still can, but like now I'm like, I get excited every day leaving work. Like, all right, what do I want to do today? Like if I don't have any plans, like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get some gaming in. I just fucking sprint home. That's what I do after like eating dinner and all that. So it's been real good. The vibes are fucking immaculate in here. Also, special fuck you to the Philadelphia 76ers. Enjoy Cancun. That's all we're going to say on that. Basketball stuff.
Did they lose?
Yeah, they lost to the Knicks, baby.
Thank God.
Yeah, Boston.
How do you feel about have you watched the Fallout TV show?
Yeah, I love it.
How do you feel about the giant shithole city called Philly?
I fucking cracked the fuck. I was like in tears. Yep. I was like in tears laughing because I thought.
And I was really like, coincidentally, it looks just like modern day Philly. So, yep.
Yeah, no, that made me laugh. That one, yeah, that was good. But did you watch the entire thing?
No, I've only watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I'm on episode 5. I'm probably gonna because I'm off the next 2 days, so probably gonna binge the rest of that shit either
It's
tonight or
surprisingly
tomorrow.
good.
I was shocked. Like I was
Yeah,
genuinely shocked how
surprisingly
good it
good.
was, and it made me want to play Fallout. And I was
Hmm.
like, man, Bethesda and Microsoft, good job. Not you
Hmm.
specifically, but like you know what I mean. Like, good job. This was a good move. So, and I think for Microsoft right now, the vibes are better. I feel like the
Yeah,
vibes are better.
I would agree. I like the fact that Todd Howard is like starting to say things like, "Oh, maybe we should expedite the process of developing our games." It's like you shouldn't have developed fucking Starfield to begin with, Todd. You
Yeah.
know, like Fallout should have been coming out right around this time, or Skyrim, or not
Right.
Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 6. It's like you guys have openly stated that you're pretty much not even working on them. So
Yeah. What the fuck?
I have a feeling Big Daddy's gonna step in and be like, "All right,
Yeah. Let's go.
yeah,
You
we
know
gotta
what's
make something
weird?
happen."
Yeah, I was talking to Adam about this. I don't know what it is. What's wrong with me? That like I love Fallout, like I always have. But then like when I play like the Elder Scrolls, I just like I don't know what it is. Like I just can't get in there. But mentally, like I know I want to because like it's the same, essentially the same shit, minus like you know Fall. I feel like Fallout is Skyrim with guns. Like it's
They're
like it's
pretty
kind of
similar games.
yeah. Like I just feel like it's like similar concepts, but every time I play like Skyrim, I just feel like I don't for some reason get the character right. Like I just don't see like I don't know. I don't know what it is. But
Did
then like
you
got
did you play Oblivion
yeah.
or Morrowind?
I played Morrowind. I played my biggest experience is with Morrowind, and I liked Morrowind, but like I thought it was kind of hard. It was like I didn't know where to go, and
Yeah, it
I
is.
played Daggerfall like way back in the day, like but that was before like I don't know, I was like fucking 10, like not understanding context clues and all this. You know what I mean? Like you just weren't
Yeah.
reading at a great level, so you didn't really like shit just missed you, and it was on a PC. You didn't like PCs, and then like when I played Skyrim, I just I don't know, and then I played Scott the remastered version of well, that's one of the remastered versions of Skyrim, and played about 10 hours of it and liked it, and then just never picked it back up.
Okay, so but how do you feel about Oblivion?
I don't really have an opinion on Oblivion.
Okay, because my opinion is that Oblivion is a much better game than Skyrim, and it doesn't hold up as well over time. But I think that the world and stories are way more interesting in Oblivion than in Skyrim. I think Skyrim does a really poor job of making its world interesting, whereas Oblivion did not have that. Skyrim's like very the environments are very similar, very samey, very
Yeah,
northern, cold, and mountainous, and there's not a lot of variety there, which I think this next game is going to change because
yeah,
there's not a whole lot you can do in Skyrim. You know, it's like a very like I said, cold, mountainous region, and also I didn't find the factions very attractive, and I didn't. There's
yeah,
a the fun for me in Skyrim is all the minor details, which I think Bethesda is that's their best trait, and that's what they should be leaning into. Like all the small stories. I told you, I think we talked about this weeks ago about like the Epic Nate 315 that YouTube
yeah.
channel that I love.
I've been watching all his videos.
They're so good, dude. And it's all this stuff that when you play through these games, you never pick up on. You don't see any of this stuff when you're playing through the game, and but like unless you're looking for it really deeply. And I think that is so cool that Bethesda does, and it's something that they did not do with Starfield because they procedurally generated all their planets in Starfield, and they don't go back in with Starfield with like the little touch of Bethesda and manually create all this stuff,
So do you
and that's
think?
what makes these
So do you
special.
think I should play Oblivion instead of Skyrim?
Oh man, I don't know. Oblivion's so hard to go back to. It's so fucking ugly. It's like the most ugly character designs you can possibly think of. I think Oblivion is a really solid game. But like for instance, I spent an entire weekend like a year and a half ago probably installing Oblivion and modding the shit out of it to make it look good. And I played like an hour of it and I'm like, okay. Well,
Feel like you burned yourself out modding it.
well, I was just like, yeah, it's still super fucking old and It's just not
Yeah.
not as good.
Well, because I don't know, because I'm looking at it on. Did you download the Steam version? I'm assuming.
Of Oblivion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Chrono, could you fucking not get the fuck out of here, dude?
Yeah,
Like
Chrono. Goddamn.
I'm gonna kick you.
Fucking doing a podcast here, Chrono.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the fucking pound.
He wouldn't last 2 seconds in the clink. He's not built for that. He's not built for that. But yeah, I because when I hear the concept of the Elder Scrolls, like I feel like it's something I would like. Like I would love the factions and joining the Dark Brotherhood and doing all that fun shit. But then like when I try to do it, it just for some reason doesn't hit for me. And like
Yeah, I think for me it's a very specific mood, and it's the opening that I think is very rough for me because these games do not have quick openings. I think the opening for Fallout 4 lasts until you get to like Diamond City,
yeah,
you know? And like there's a lot that you have to do in Fallout 4 to even like get yourself solidified.
but I feel like with Fallout games, like the charm of the openings, like being in the vault and like I don't know, I just feel like that aesthetic is just I don't know. It's always like been fun for me where you're like kind of seeing what vault life is like, and then naturally things are going to go to shit really quickly, and
Mhm.
there's a reason why you leave the vault. But I just feel like with Skyrim, aren't you like some guy getting ready to get executed, and then like you're fucking randomly I just feel like it just doesn't like I don't know. It just doesn't hit for me. So I mean, like I want to be an Elder Scrolls guy, but I don't think I'm an Elder Scrolls guy.
I recently installed Elder Scrolls VR and played around
Oh,
with it.
I forgot
Yeah.
you had a VR.
Yeah, I put it on my PC and played it on my Oculus, and not a fan. I
Yeah.
don't think VR is gonna take off the way people keep
I just don't think
assuming it's going to.
I just don't think it's that fun. Like I just don't really.
It's not, dude. Like I was like, all right, let me try Skyrim VR, getting some sword fights and whatnot, and it's not hitting, dude. Because yeah, I can like move my arms and whatnot, but there's no like feedback when I'm like
Yeah,
blocking an attack or anything, and like I'll try and hit a sword or something.
yeah.
My
Just
arm goes right through it, and it's like, well, that's not really.
and nobody wants to sit there in the living room like a fucking putz swinging around. Like that's why. Like I'd
uh,
play the Wii if I wanted to do that. Like fuck. Like,
The most fun I had was in the boxing game,
yeah, where
and
you almost knocked me out. You fuck.
yeah, that was really solid. The Creed Rise to Glory is a really solid boxing game, and I mean that was as much fun as I ever had with VR, and I've never
Yeah.
had any fun with VR since.
So to put context on that comment I made, so one day I come home from work, and Seth is playing Creed: Rise of Glory in the kitchen because that's where the most room is, and he's sitting there, he's throwing bombs. Like, he's throwing bombs. So I'm like, I go to walk in and grab. I forget what the fuck I was gonna grab out of the fridge, but then like as I walk in the kitchen, there's this the fucking fist that almost hits me in the chin, and I was like, dude, whoa. And to this day, like I say it all the time, had you hit me, I'd have been on the floor sleeping. Like, because I just you would have felt feedback, and you would have been immediately like, wait, what the fuck? And you would have left the headset on, I'd have been on the floor, just done.
I was dead ass serious about Creed Rise to Glory. I was ducking
Yeah,
and weaving. I was
yeah,
fighting
you were
Ivan
all over the
Drago
place.
and shit. Like,
Yeah, so I'll never forget that. I'm like, but then I'm thinking, like, who wants to really do that? Like, I feel like you got to do that specifically somewhere. Like, if you would build a home gym in your garage, fucking play Creed: Rise to Glory in there, get your
right,
cardio in.
right. That's a good way to get your cardio in too. It exhausted me. I'd be going like 8 solid rounds. I'd be exhausted, dude, dying on
Yeah,
the floor.
yeah, but I just don't feel like VR is going to take off. But there's something about like I want to go with a fucking broadsword and kill some people. That's all I want to do. And I
Yeah,
feel like Skyrim and Elder Scrolls should be able to give me that, but I feel like it just doesn't hit. Like I don't know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe it's
I
me.
agree.
I just don't think maybe I'm just not a Skyrim guy.
I also think it's been around for fucking 12 years now.
Yeah.
So maybe,
Maybe Elder Scrolls 6 will get in there whenever that comes out.
yeah, Red Guard. I think it's gonna be a Red Guard game.
A what?
A Red Guard. They're like
The
the
lore.
the
Yeah,
black
yeah.
people, and I think I forget
Gotcha.
what the name of the actual area is, but
Mhm.
I
Now
think that's the
speaking
general consensus.
now speaking of them, have you like I don't you're not did you even like touch Starfield? Did you mess around with it a little bit?
I knew I wasn't gonna be interested. I could feel it. I looked at it, and I was just not interested in Starfield, man.
I played like maybe 2 hours of Starfield on PC, and that game just has no soul, man. Like there's
Hmm.
no like it I don't know. It's disappointing because I love sci-fi RPGs. Like if you give me a good sci-fi RPG and there's space exploration, like I'm all over it. Like games like
Mhm.
Mass Effect, or even like I was playing The Outer Worlds, and which we'll get into that a little later. But that game, like just that type of RPG in that setting where you like I can run around a colony or whatever it is, like I love those types of games. So then, like, to see a game that's supposed to be like from the people who historically have made these deep immersive worlds, and it's just this soulless fucking like, ugh. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how they're gonna fix that game. They got to fix that game. I don't know how they're gonna
No, they
fix
don't. No, what I think they should do with Starfield is just move on. You guys made a 7 out of 10 game, and it's whatever. Move on, because that is not what your bread and butter should have been. It was a bad idea to begin with. Stick stick to who brought you to the dance. That's how I feel about them. I don't know why you guys were trying to branch out and make a third property when you could barely handle two.
Yeah, and here's the thing, that and it still has that Bethesda jank, and I'm like, how?
I
So
don't know.
it's I don't know. So we'll get into that at some other time in another show about like the sad decline of that fucking developer, Bethesda Game Studios, because like I don't understand what happened. But
Mhm.
maybe I'll be an Avowed guy. Maybe that's the one.
Avowed looks good.
Maybe that's the one.
Avowed
So
looks good. I just wish we would get a fucking release date someday.
yeah, I
Avowed
don't
is
know.
Avowed is a game that I'm gonna be either buying an Xbox for or upgrading my PC for.
I'm really excuse me. I'm really considering. I don't know if I'm gonna buy a Series X. But then like I feel like if I don't, then I'm cheating myself of an experience.
Well, I mean, like I said, you don't have to buy a Series X. You could upgrade your graphics card and your computer and get just as good of an experience, better actually.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
that, but
well, maybe PC ports have been rough lately, dude. They've been
that's that was
rough.
I was gonna bring that up here in a
Yeah.
second. But then my other piece of anxiety is like I feel like the minute I buy a Series X, they're gonna be like, oh, new SKU PS or Xbox Series X Pro, or I'm gonna fucking snap. Because like that's literally when I bought my One X. Literally, the Series X got announced for. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, that was a miscalculation.
Yeah, that was but I feel like we're around that same time. Like it's kind of halfway through the generation. Like what do we? So I don't know. We'll have to. I'll have to think about it, because like part of me is also like I have a PS5. So do I really lose anything by just getting a Series S and being done with it, just so I can play exclusives? Like, do I really? Does it really matter? And like
Well,
grand scheme of things, no. But like,
they're starting to not release games on the Series S.
yeah, that was the other thing where I'm like, what like you guys said, oh, it's great entry level, blah 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 blah. Now you're like gonna give those same people who bought that system the middle finger. I'm like, oh, that's great.
I wouldn't be surprised if Avowed didn't come to the Series S, like they
That'd
canceled
be
it.
fucking really that actually be really funny, because like you think about like who makes up the majority of Game Pass subscribers. Do you think it's Series S guys or Series X guys?
Oh, I mean, well, by all metrics, the Series consoles are selling terribly anyway, but I think Series S is like
Yeah,
far outselling Series X.
yeah. So it's just like your biggest seller, you're gonna fucking pigeon toss like everybody. Like, nah, you don't get anything.
Yeah,
So, but we are reading that like Series S is like holding a lot of games back. So it's like,
yeah, I think it was a
well,
bad move.
yeah, two SKUs is always rough. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we dip our toes in there. So, getting into the meat and potatoes, let's get into a couple vibe checks here. So, we'll go with one I'm like lukewarm on, and then one that I'm all the way in on. So, right now, lukewarm vibes for me on Hellblade. Now, they just recently announced the PC requirements for Hellblade,
Hmm.
and they're saying for to run it on. I mean, is anyone gonna really fucking run that on low? Is that even like acceptable? But
Well, this is why I'm interested in why this is even a conversation, because the specs are actually really chill.
yeah,
Yeah, like they're super chill. I mean, the Nvidia GTX 1070 I think came out a decade ago, maybe more.
holy fuck,
The medium requirements are the RX 5700 XT. That's what I have in my computer right now, and I bought
mm,
that card 5 years ago. Or not five, like 4 years ago.
mm,
really reasonable specs, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this.
no, but what I was gonna say is like, so with you saying that, but they were saying like how high fidelity this game is gonna be. Like they're showing it off. If you remember, like they were showing off like, oh, look at the fucking 4K, you know. But then like you're saying it's not really all that intensive. So I'm like, is this game gonna not look as good as we were promised, or is it one of these things that like
Well,
they had to scale it down?
I don't think that that's the case. I mean, it all depends on what kind of game it is, right? I don't think Hellblade's gonna be like this gigantic open
Mm-mm.
world game, you know,
No.
if like think about how good Final Fantasy 13 still looks, you
Oh
know?
yeah, great
Phenomenal.
fucking game. Yeah, great
And
fucking game. It's a real looker.
yeah, and I think that's a very telling thing because it's a very linear game where it can focus all its
Yeah.
graphical fidelity in one spot at a time, and I think Hellblade's gonna be the same way also. Never played the first Hellblade, so I don't really have a whole
Oh,
lot to say
really,
on
dude?
this. Yeah, yeah.
When we were living together, I swore you played it.
I bought it.
Okay.
I bought it, and then I lent it to Rochelle because I had, like, the this
Slipcover?
collector's edition,
Yeah.
and she never gave it back to me. She was, like, known for that. I had to, like, chase her down to get my Oculus.
What the fuck, really?
Yeah, yeah, she was, like, really bad about bringing back my stuff.
Mm-mm-mm. I mean, I don't know if you're big into Hellblade, but I would recommend the playthrough. You got to play through with headphones on. That's the only way to play it.
Maybe. I don't know. It's not I'm not feeling it right now, is where I'm at with the Hellblade.
See,
Not
for me,
not there.
vibes on that are I don't have a Series X console right now, and I've been looking for a reason to, like I've been waiting for Microsoft to give me a reason to buy it, and they just haven't given it to me. So I'm very hesitant on Hellblade because like I loved the first Hellblade. I fucking loved it. It
Mhm.
was like one of my favorite games of last generation. So I'm like I'm waiting to see the reviews and I'm hoping it's good reviews. I'm like, okay, if we got good reviews, and then whatever they do with their showcase, like if you give me Gear 6, if you give me like, and I know Avowed's coming, and I know Outer Worlds 2 is coming, like we got some shit coming. I'm like, okay, like we may have to slide in there, but if like they continue to fuck up games from developers that I really like think about it, like Arcane, their last game was a fucking giant turd. They fucked up Starfield. Like there's a couple that had a couple swings and misses here, and
Mhm.
it's just like I'm hoping, I'm really really hoping they get these games right because they're starting to become from developers that I really fucking love. So I'm like, dude, that's when you're gonna see them hurt me. They're gonna hurt your boy.
Well, I feel like they've been hurting my boy for a long time.
Yeah,
My boy's been
yeah, we're
in
hurt.
a little bit of a denial, you know?
Yeah. It's because like I want to love Microsoft. I do. I really do. It's like let me love you, and you're just giving me
Let me
reasons.
love you.
You're just giving me reasons to fucking like Jesus. You know what I mean? Just giving me reasons to fucking make fun of you all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair because everyone's making fun of them, you know,
Yeah, it's just all the
like
time. Like
consistently. Yeah,
it's like it's gotten to the point where it's like I feel like it's starting to get a little lame to dunk on Microsoft, where it's just like all right, like,
I
but like
am sick of it.
they just keep doing it. It's just like, can somebody with a fucking who can read the room get in here and be like, okay, guys, we really got to clean this shit up. Like, I fail to understand how like you have all these board execs who are that tone deaf. We're like, okay, like we're noticing a problem here. I mean, even though people keep buying our shit, like our reputation is ass, and it's like,
Mhm.
come on, at some point that's got to mean something. But it is what it is. Moving on to the other vibe check, Metaphor ReFantazio, which by the way is an awful name. We're gonna call it like it is now. Awful name.
It's the most Japanese name I've ever heard in my life. I don't
That's
know
like
what the deal is.
that's right up there with Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE with a fucking bad name. Like ironically from Atlus, but like we got to figure out names here with JRPGs. Like we got to start figuring this one out.
We used to change names of bad games. Remember that? Like
Yeah,
back in the 90s, if a name came out and it didn't translate well, we just changed it.
yeah, change that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 3.
yeah, yeah.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
God, you remember? Imagine like not knowing there were other Final Fantasies, and all of a sudden there's a jump to 7.
Mind-boggling and be like, "What are you talking about?"
Or like when Dragon Warrior became Dragon Quest.
JRPG fans are so like eccentric and like a little off, right? That I think that's the reason they're not worried about the names, because like
No.
everyone's just kind of like, it is what it is. It's a weird ass game with a weird ass name.
Yeah, but like, come on, like
Yeah, I don't know.
we couldn't like. Real quick aside, like that's probably if I had a top 3 of like worst RPG names, like that's one of them,
Yeah,
and
I
then I
agree.
did Tokyo Mirage Sessions is the other one, and then I think Octopath Traveler is probably third because that
Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days.
don't even get me started on them because that's fucking that's bullshit. And then we were getting the stupid shit like 2.8 and 2. What
Yeah.
like that was just
Why 2.8? Why wasn't it 2.9? You know, like what's going on here?
madness. Or Kingdom Hearts Key, that's a mobile guy, like that.
Like who decided that was an eighth of the step towards Kingdom Hearts 3? Like did they have some sort of mathematical calculation, or was it just like a shot in the dark?
Yeah,
Like a yeah, I don't know. I guess Aqua
yeah,
getting possessed by the darkness or whatever. That
yeah,
seems like an
2.8.
eighth of the way to Kingdom Hearts
Yeah,
3.
2.8. Yeah,
Fuck off. God,
yeah, 2.8.
just piss me off. Or now here's the question, Pedro. Before we talk about this, now that we're on the topic of Kingdom Hearts, 4 vibe check.
The vibes are we're kind of arm's length. We're kind of
Oh,
like
interesting.
you got to show me a trailer, and I got to be into the trailer because right now with
Oh, they
Kingdom
showed you a
Hearts,
trailer.
yeah, but like gameplay trailer, like give me something that looks like what the gameplay is going to be, because we're at a beautiful place in Kingdom Hearts where you and I can jump off. We're out. Like we've essentially seen everything we need to see, and
Mhm.
they heard us, and so we can get out. Like,
So my vibe with Kingdom Hearts 4 is I'm not buying it. I'm done. I'm done unless I see, and if the community reaction is like super positive to
yeah,
4, then I'll jump back in.
yeah, that's it.
But
Yeah,
I've had enough of your bullshit,
yeah,
right? I'm done. I
right,
waited what, a fucking decade and then
yeah,
for Kingdom Hearts 3 for you to have no Final Fantasy characters in it, no
yeah.
reasonable plot development until the last quarter of the game, like a bunch of fucking light up Disney rides as attacks of enemies, and just a
Mm-hmm.
completely this like nonsensical game. No, dude, I tried when I was in a Disney mood right before we took our last Disney World trip. I tried booting up Kingdom Hearts 3 again. I forgot how badly the plot is paced. Like it just jumps from one thing to the next with no like it doesn't flow at all. I
No,
mean like dude, it's bad, and
that's
I don't understand how they did it. I don't understand how that happened.
I don't know. Doesn't the Remind DLC like kind of changes the ending anyway?
No. Have you played the Remind DLC?
No, I couldn't because when I switched PS4s like basically when I got my Death Stranding PS4 Pro, I somehow lost my save data. So when I bought Remind, like I couldn't because I
All
would
right.
have to. Yeah, so I'm not playing
So
through that again.
here's the thing. I'm gonna spoil what happens in Remind, and it's not a spoiler, and you'll understand why. Do you remember that part at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 where all like the other people are fighting alongside you?
Yeah,
What if I told you? You're gonna hate this. What if I told you that wasn't the other people, and that it was actually future Sora that went back in time and was
no,
and was possessing those people?
no. You know how I feel about time travel in the Kingdom
Yes,
Hearts.
yes, that's what happens in Remind,
I
and then
still
it doesn't really make a difference in the ending anyway. The biggest waste of money I've spent on DLC I've ever, dude. Only for challenge levels and like a nonsense addition to the ending.
so
Complete
my
nonsense.
I'll be honest, my all-time favorite moment of that game is where like Donald hits whoever it is with the fucking Shinku Hadouken, where the fuck he hit him with.
The
Remember with the
Terra
fuck?
Flare, or
Yeah,
I think he hits him with,
Tetra Flare, whatever fuck he does to him, he fucks his shit up. I'm like, that was great.
canonically making Donald the strongest mage in all Final Fantasy history. Isn't that
I'm with
nuts?
it. I think that's actually hilarious.
I
It's
think
unacceptable, but it's hilarious.
I think it's funny, but like it comes out of nowhere. It
I
comes out of
know.
nowhere.
It's just like, and
So
I wish they would have
had
like
this
left
ability
it.
the whole time, you little cunt. You know, like
Yeah, and he's like, yes, Claire. You're like, whoa. I'm like, Donald just fucking deleted a man. Like, what just happened?
Zeta Flare is what it was.
Zeta.
Yep.
Oh god! Special shout out to fucking Kingdom Hearts for being a shit show. But yeah, with with Metaphor ReFantazio, when we were talking about the trailer, I was under the impression that it was kind of mainline SMT meets Persona, but then like apparently I've been corrected because it's more of like East meets Shin Megami Tensei / Persona, whatever fuck was going on there.
Very weird.
So
Very weird. This is a revelation for both of us.
we're almost like even Tokyo Xanadu kind of vibes, like
Yeah.
kind of like that, which that interests me. But I'm all the way in. I usually am with Atlus stuff, and I think wasn't I just bitching a couple weeks ago about like new IP and about Square, like I want something like new, and so I find it a little ironic, A, with Starfield that they tried something new and it was a piece of shit, and then B, that Atlus is doing a new RPG. So I think I'm in on day one on this. I pre-ordered it on the PS5 because I was originally gonna go. I don't know if it's even coming to Switch, but I was gonna go get it on Xbox. But I'm like, why? Why are you gonna get it on Xbox? Just get it on the PS5. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, so
Yeah.
yeah. So I also was gonna. I looked at the collector's edition that's like $200. I was like, absolutely not. Can't do it.
Did you see what came in it?
There's a shitload of stuff in it. I know it wasn't available for a while, so I don't know if it's a backup for pre-order. But I just got my Steelbook and we're good.
Dude, I'm pretty much done with collector's editions.
You have too many collector's editions.
And they're cool, and I like them being part of my collection.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, the price got so extreme, and the items inside were always kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like I love my Octopath Traveler collector's edition because of how rare it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought I had it up there. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's right there. Anyway, it's super cool. I've never once opened it since after the day I got it.
Yeah.
Not once.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to
sit there. They just sit.
Also, I have the Nintendo Switch version of Octopath Traveler, which I think is weird.
Dude, I don't understand. You have a weird relationship with the Switch. Like, there's another case study we need to do.
Why did I get the Switch version of that game?
You've had 3 Switches. I don't know what the fuck. You have a weird relationship with Switch.
I've definitely never played it on Switch. I definitely played it on PS4.
I feel like you've literally played 2 games on Switch. Like, I feel like literally... Okay, no, I'll give you credit. 3. Technically, debatably 4. And literally,
they're all Pokemon game.
Okay, yeah, Xenoblade and Pokemon.
Yeah, I played Pokemon a lot. I played Xenoblade a lot. I played Breath of the Wild for like 50 hours.
I remember you bought Breath of the Wild. I'm like, yeah, that's going to last.
It did. I played it for 50 hours.
Yeah.
You can look at my Nintendo profile and it says like over 50 hours played or whatever. And it's like, now, you know what my reaction was the whole time I'm playing this?
I remember. I remember. You know what's funny? Because like,
smile on my fucking face.
I remember the ironic thing with that is like you were playing Breath of the Wild and saying how much better Horizon is as a game, Zero Dawn, and then like I always found it funny that you didn't like the sequel to Horizon. It's like,
dude, it's crazy because I played and beat Horizon Forbidden West, and so I'm at my old apartment. I'm playing Horizon Forbidden West at this desk, right? I had my PS5 hooked up to my monitor because of the high resolution mode. I look over at Caitlin and I go, well, that was a waste of 50 fucking hours of my life. I haven't touched it since. I was like, that game sucks, dude. It doesn't suck. The gameplay is good. It's just the story is miserable. Aloy is a miserable fucking character.
Yeah, I gotta play both of them. As a Gorilla guy, I don't even know if I can be a Gorilla guy anymore because I haven't played Horizon. Like I used to be a Gorilla guy for Killzone, but then I don't know. I played like 10 hours of Zero Dawn, then just never went back to it.
I will say the thing with Horizon is it made me a Monster Hunter fan, so that's good. Because I was like, damn, like stalking these monsters and like prepping myself and like getting in like these gigantic fights against like T-Rexes and stuff is like really cool. And then I remember I was telling Austin that like years ago, and he's like, you should try Monster Hunter World, and I did, and I was like, all right, now I get it. It's not just like a hack and slash game. It's more like a Witcher type. Like I'm going into this thing, it's telling me its weaknesses, and I got to prepare and forge new armor and specific for it, and like I'm telling you, Pedro. I think me and you should jump into Monster Hunter World, and I think you're gonna like it. I think you'd be into it.
Yeah, if we can get a solid party going, I'd be down. I
We
would
only
be
need me
down.
and you. I mean, I played Monster Hunter World all the way through by myself.
Will you
But
soloed it?
Mhm.
Hmm. I think I have one of them. I have to look at my PlayStation.
I mean,
Do you have it on PC?
it's me. No, I have World on PS4
Okay,
and
so
Iceborne actually.
I think I have it. I swear one of them was a PS Plus game like a minute ago.
I think yeah. Well, I think Monster Hunter World is part of the collection actually.
Hmm. Speaking of
Definitely worth
Austin,
it.
weren't you down in Georgia recently?
Georgia, yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I went down and visited him 2 weeks ago, and we had a
Devil went down to
blast.
Georgia.
Yep, the devil did go down to Georgia, and I stayed at his uh, parent-in-law's guest
The in-laws.
house.
Yeah.
Or no, yeah, and it was like their house, but they had like a guest area. Really cool, and they live in a dude. They live in a town called Avalon. Isn't that sweet?
Yeah,
That
I've
is
heard of that town.
awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome, and they're like the shield symbol for Avalon is like all over the town, and they have like this beautiful downtown area. And Watson and not Watson Austin and his wife Andy were showing us around and taking us all these really cool like nerdy Asian stores and whatnot. I think maybe I've made them feel bad because I didn't buy anything, but I was like, I don't want to like getting this stuff home is going to be a logistic nightmare.
Yeah,
So I
like
like
lugging shit home. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
there's all kinds of really cool Asian stores right around them, like bookstores and like all these like Asian hobby shops and stuff like that. And
Not to
I
be
was
that
really
guy,
into it.
but not to be that guy. That's a little shocking to find out that it's in Georgia. But
Yeah, dude, massive Asian population around them,
huh?
and it's really weird. Like any like they take us to all these Korean markets and
Oh hell
stuff like
yeah!
that, and really crazy cool stuff. We went and got like authentic Japanese food
Yeah.
at a Japanese restaurant. They actually had the tables that like you sit down at, like
Oh,
with the
that's
pads on
sweet.
the floor and stuff. Yeah, really neat. We didn't sit there because you needed like a big party to do it, but
Yeah.
yeah, right there, right around there, around Atlanta, Georgia. We went to the aquarium and the Coke Museum, and it was a really fun time. We made the most out of the 2 days we were down there. So
Nice.
hey, I ate a Dave Portnoy 8.3.
Oh.
Disappointed. I was. Me and Caitlin were both where we were like, really 8.3. Now I think we're both. It wasn't bad pizza. It was just I expected to get my dick blown off, you
Yeah,
know, and
that makes sense.
I was like maybe they're having an off day. So next
Was
time
it
I'm in a big city, I gotta
was it
try
like
it.
was it like a New York style slice or what kind of slice was it? Was it
It was a
Sicilian?
it
Was it
was I'm sorry, Pedro. I don't know. It was a pizza. I think it's called the margarita pizza, which is with just the giant discs of mozzarella all
Oh,
over it.
okay,
You know what I'm
okay,
talking about?
yeah. Yeah, I don't
I
like those
think
pizzas,
I
but
think it would be fun to go to New Haven one day and just go on like a pizza tour.
I'd be down. I'd go to Connecticut. I'm in.
Yeah, just go on like a pizza tour in New Haven,
Yeah.
Connecticut, and just be like, all right, let's what are the hot spots here? You know, we gotta get one slice everywhere.
That's known as the pizza capital.
Yeah.
You know where else is known for really good pizza allegedly is Wilkes-Barre. Wilkes-Barre Scranton
No,
is
it's a there, dude. You should watch. There's one bite review series where Dave goes to this
yeah,
town outside of Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and it claims it's the pizza capital of the United States.
yeah. It's like
And there's
it's
this,
in like fucking in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, and there's this like statue with like a giant pool. And Dave Portnoy is like, he's like, I thought this thing was gonna be like 30 feet tall, and it's like 6 feet tall, like right on the side of a sidewalk. Yeah. Did
That's
you want you,
awesome.
you also got to watch the ones from State College because there's like apparently a professor at State College who like trashed Barstool Sports and stuff like
Oh,
that.
for real?
And Dave Portnoy goes off, and he has this sweatshirt that says like fucking so and so professor started this fight and made a whole bunch of outrageous claims and should lose their jobs, but I'm not going to talk about it. And he wears it through the whole time,
That's
and
awesome.
every time he's like talking about the pizza, he's like, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. She's a scumbag. I'm not going to talk about it. I love Dave Portnoy, dude. He's such a G.
Yeah, he has a special way of like fucking just making shit funny. Like he's
Has there ever been a more legendary figure on the internet that you don't want to fuck with? Like that just dominates people in terms of like internet beefs?
besides
Like
him and Dana White. That's it.
Daniel makes an ass out of himself. Dave Portnoy, I feel like, has never made an ass out of himself. He just
No.
always doubles down, and it's like in his legendary deposition against Michael Rappaport, he doubles down
Yeah, it's
with the
great.
lawyers and stuff. He's like, yeah, I made a clown shirt with him because only special people that I hate get clown shirts. That's a very special thing for me. Like, damn.
He's done some funny shit. There was a time with Brady when like the whole Deflategate happened. He like he protested in NFL headquarters and got arrested.
That's so awesome.
Like he
I
went to
respect
jail
it.
for Tom Brady.
Dude, I straight up respect Dave Portnoy. He started his business handing out like magazines that he printed in a Subway.
Yeah.
You read like the story of Barstool Sports. The dude's a self-made millionaire.
Yeah.
He like really grinded for it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I love is when he rebought Barstool Sports. Now everyone knows I'm not a sports fan, right? But I do love Dave Portnoy because I think he's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the videos when he buys Barstool back and then returns to the office and sees how mismanaged it was, and no one's there at like 10 a.m.
10 a.m. and he's like,
oh, all right. I'm uploading a vlog right now. This is ridiculous. No one comes to work apparently.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny. It's so fucking funny.
That one intern walks in and he's like, he walks in with coffee and donuts, right?
Yeah,
and it's a no, right? If you're late for your job, don't walk in.
Right, don't walk in.
If you're gonna eat breakfast, eat it in the car. Don't walk in with like coffee and donuts, being like, "Oh yeah, I know I was late, but I decided to take some extra time just to walk in with some breakfast."
Yeah,
where we at? What's going on here? I don't know what's happening.
It's awesome, but yeah. Anyway, we went way off left. So, are you in for the fucking metaphor ReFantazio? I feel like we're shitting on the game a little bit, not paying attention to it, but like it's really a game that I'm excited about. It is.
I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on it. It depends, right? Because I feel a little burned out with Atlus. You know, I'm not a classic Shin Megami guy. I don't like their obscure stories. That's where I'm at with the Shin Megami game. The games. I don't like the obscure nature of their stories and how you have to like fucking interpret it. Listen, man, I'm not an artsy person. Just tell me the fucking story. Don't make me interpret anything. I hate that shit. All right, tell me what's going on. And you gotta spoon feed it to me too. By the way, that's how I feel about these games. So when they're like all being weird and shit and like not speaking in like normal English, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. It is what it is. I'll see when it comes out how I'm feeling and when does it come out?
It's in October. I think it's like October. It's like I think mid-October maybe.
Let me see here. Release date is October 11th, 2024. So we're gonna see. Avowed is supposed to come out this fall, apparently too. So, and that's gonna be much higher in the priority.
Yeah, I might be there day one for Avowed. Maybe we'll see. That's a hard. I want to, but again, got to be able to justify buying the console. Yeah, and I feel like I'm ready for a new Atlus RPG. Like Persona 3 Reload didn't hit for me, which I knew it wouldn't. Not that it's a bad game. Like I don't want to sit here and be like, "Oh, this game sucks," but it's just like for you and me, and I knew this was gonna happen to you too. Like you already, you've been there, got the T-shirt. Like it's kind of just didn't hit. So I kind of give them a mulligan on that. But I feel like as far as like Atlus style storytelling and like those worlds and like even the Persona studio, what they've been doing has usually been good stuff. Even though I feel like you and I I feel like we're in the minority about like not like we didn't hate Persona 5, but we're not going back.
I loved Persona 5. I had a blast. What happened? I feel like I need to see a psychologist about because it's clearly happened to you too, and I don't know what it is. I don't know, Pedro. It's the weirdest thing, and it's never happened to me with any other games. But my body reacts to Persona 5 like I fucking hate it, and I didn't. I loved my time with Persona 5. I bought the Persona 5 Joker action figure, and I have a Persona 5 Joker statue. Yeah, and I'm like, I love this game. And I by the way, I got the Persona 5 Royal Collector's Edition.
Yeah, I have that too. I have the Take Your Heart edition and the Royal one.
And I'm like, I love this series. Why do I have such a visceral reaction to it? I don't know.
And it's any Persona 5. Like I've tried Strikers, it was like like because the minute it did, I
Yeah.
remember I played like an hour of Strikers, like okay, and then it's like I went to go do something, and Morgana's like, you should go to bed, and I'm just like, like just
I'm wondering if it's like the absolute massive time commitment,
I think that's
and
probably what
that's
it
what's
is.
turning me away. Because that's what I want to say. It is like the absolute ridiculous length of that game is what making me say no. But then again, Rebirth was 70 hours
Yeah,
straight, and I had no problem with that. So
I put 100 hours in that bitch, and then but then like we've played Trails games, like so it's not that, it can't be
yeah,
that.
I guess that's right. But would you be willing to go back and play
I would literally go back and
Cold
play every.
Steel 1?
No, I was literally gonna say I would go back and play literally every single Trails game except 1 and 2. Actually, you know what? I would take that back. Just one. It's probably just one I don't like. Well,
See, because I'm wondering, because we've talked about this before. Are we wrong? Are we on the wrong side of history with Cold Steel 1, where we played it in the wrong order and we didn't get any of the references?
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that's
Because Fee Colossal would probably be an all-time favorite character had I known what she represented from the cool crossbow games.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Metaphor ReFantazio,
Yeah.
50% in.
Yeah. I'm in, even though I feel like again we keep fucking disrespecting this game a little bit, but we're definitely in. Last thing, as far as do you see this stuff about Helldivers that
Yeah,
Sony's forcing Steam players to connect to a PSN account?
Sony, this has never worked out. This has never
Yeah,
worked out.
I don't get why. Like what like for what?
Ask people, ask other companies how fucking Origin worked out or Uplay,
Yeah,
Ask
people
them.
just don't like that. Like people
People
do not
straight
like
up
that.
fucking hate that shit, dude. And there's no reason for it. I think Sony is doing it specifically for their metrics. It's a move that I do think will be rolled back, especially because it seems like they have the whole dev team of Helldivers 2 supporting the players. Straight up, the one developer for Helldivers 2 recommended people go leave negative reviews for the game. That's a real thing that happened. And like the director of the game posted this like really depressing tweet, and someone replied and being like, PlayStation Network isn't supported in my country. What do I do? And he straight up replied to them saying, I don't know. That
Yeah.
was it, dude. And it's like, Sony, what the fuck, dude? First, last week it's the Hellblade censorship controversy that is getting pinned on you. Now we got the fucking Helldivers 2 situation that is like
Yeah.
really weird. A really weird situation, man. And I don't understand it because it's not like in Final Fantasy 14, which crosses over with Sony. It's not like they're making people have a PlayStation account for that,
All
So
right.
what's going on here? Do we really need the metrics from PlayStation Network in order to
Yeah, like
make
nobody gives a
yourselves look good?
fuck. Yeah, like
PlayStation 5 is dominating the console space. It's dominating the gaming space. Let Helldivers 2 alone. Helldivers 2 was like a really standout fucking product for you.
mm-hmm.
You guys were nailing it. You killed it with Helldivers 2. The fans are in love with Helldivers 2. Everyone was in on the Super Earth and Malavon Creek thing, and like now you're just bringing all this negative bad mojo to the game, stifling the developers, stifling the fans. No one wants you around. Back the fuck off. It's like the fucking unfun dad going on the road trip with the boys. Get the fuck out of here, Get the
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
I just feel like I don't know.
It's like
Sometimes I feel like Sony, when they get too successful, like they need these unforced L's to kind of like, like
keep
hey,
them in
don't
check.
fuck. Yeah, like hey, like don't fuck around. Like, but yeah, like I just felt like this is like an unforced error. Like I don't get it. I don't want to get it. Like I just don't. I don't know.
Straight up,
I don't.
dude. That is exactly how it feels. It's like you're on a road trip with your boys, and your buddy's like, "Oh, I just called my dad. He's gonna come," and
Yeah,
everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
Mhm.
Or it's the girlfriend everyone hates. Hey,
Oh, been
just
there.
showing up, and it's like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now? Get the fuck out of here."
Right.
No
Yeah. Yeah.
one.
No.
We're having fun. We're all doing our thing. Leave us alone.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. We don't fuck with that. That's a fuck out of here for me. Like, we don't fuck with that. So yeah, Sony. I feel like they like I said. I feel like they need a giant PP whack in order to get them right. I feel like they have one coming. I feel like they have a giant L coming. To be honest with you, at some point coming here soon.
You let me fucking show up. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Who do I gotta talk to?
You got to talk to fucking Hiroki Toroki Literature Crow, or fuck his name is.
Ah,
Because I feel like that's like a very Sony Japan, like, hey, this is what it is. Like, we need to do this. Like, I feel
this
like
is
that.
the this is my vibe at work, by the way. This is what I tell my bosses all the time at work. They're like, "Oh, it's out of our hands." I'm like, "Who do I need to talk to? You fucking tell me."
Yeah,
We
who's
tell them that Seth Slakehouse wants a meeting, and
yeah.
I'll solve this shit.
I'd be like, who do I got to slap?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is too is that like at work they know that I'm dead ass serious, and and they're like, no, like we're not gonna do that. Because my
No.
viewpoint, Pedro, is at a manager level and above, they're all the same. They can all
Yeah.
walk me out at any point in time.
Yeah.
Why treat them differently?
Yeah, I agree.
The fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm. I'm with it. I am with it. So before we get into the rest of the show, because we got some fun stuff planned, what have we been playing, buddy? Like, I see you've got. We both got a fair amount of games on here, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you bat lead off? What you been up to, game wise?
Well, ever since I beat Dragon's Dogma 2 and had
you
a
beat it?
blast with it,
Okay.
I beat it. I even beat it and accidentally stumbled upon the secret ending and like the true ending.
Oh.
Really annoying situation, I think, with the true ending of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And interesting, experimental, but ultimately, like I had gotten so powerful that almost nothing was a threat to me at that point in the game. So I feel like, and that I think I told you last podcast, like I feel like my game glitched or something because I'm doing like such an absurd amount of damage and like, but no, this is just the way the class is, I guess, the thief class, and just like disgusting,
That's
absolutely
just
disgusting.
the way it is.
I feel like I was cheating in the game because I was doing so much damage, but I mean, just melting dragons and stuff. But yeah, had a blast with Dragon's Dogma 2. I was obsessed with it, couldn't put it down. I recommend it to fucking literally everybody. I think the game was phenomenal. I still have an issue with the way the quests and side quests are not laid out in a way that tells you when you need to complete them. But other than that, Dragon's Dogma 2 is a solid recommend for me. Because of all the hype with Fallout, I decided to play through Fallout 4 and not really play it, but I wanted to get far enough that I could play the DLC that I never played.
Which Far Harbor?
Far Harbor and Nuka World, I never played either of them.
Those are great. I
Yeah.
really like Far Harbor.
So what I did was I installed mods, and I installed the mods that opened up all the map locations so I could fast travel everywhere. And I installed a mod that gave me infinite resources for the outpost building. So now my plan is, because on the PC they have this really handy mod that changes Fallout 4. It's called Sim Settlements. I think I've told you about it before.
Yeah.
Where the settlements build themselves up into these giant cities, and it adds like however many extra towns to the game, right? Because the thing with Fallout 4 was they didn't really have any like settlements or towns built in. They kind of required you to build them yourself, and I fucking hate that. So if you want to join the Minutemen and you want to go through their story, you got to do the settlement stuff. I don't want to do that. I like the Minutemen. So right now what I'm doing is I got the infinite resource mod, and I'm just going to these settlements and planting like 100 defense turrets all around in the perimeter of the settlement. So if anything comes to the settlement, just mows them down. Settlement situation taken care of. So I don't know if I'm going to keep going with that. I'm kind of falling off the Fallout 4 train. Every time I try to open Fallout 4, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of over this. Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition. I opened back up and started playing that again because I never played it since it got fixed. And I had an interview with one Eric Ladd. He started doing a new JRPG podcast, and he's having different guests on every week. And I did a pretty lengthy Chrono Cross interview with him, and it was from the angle of like, is Chrono Cross a bad sequel? And I think it's a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I would check out his JRPG podcast called Turn Based. It's really good. He's a top notch podcaster, extremely talented, and so I started playing that again. What a fucking mess that game is, dude. What a fucking mess. I mean, just disgusting way to treat my favorite game of all time. You know, like not only was the frame rate messed up, which I could have forgiven, but why are they messing with the art? You know, like Chrono Cross has some beautiful hand painted pre-rendered backgrounds in it. And they use this disgusting ass AI filter to upres all of them. And I hate that, dude. It makes everything feel real dreamlike and blurred and floaty, and I
Mhm.
just disgusting. I mean, and by the way, the crossbow games, same thing. The crossbow games do it better
Yeah.
because they were naturally later and you can't tell as much. But if you
Mhm.
look at like the text in the background of the crossbow games, you can see that none of the text makes any sense in any of the pre-rendered backgrounds, which breaks my heart a little bit.
Mhm.
But in the Radical Dreamers edition, they just did a terrible job with the backgrounds, in my opinion. I think the backgrounds look terrible. So thankfully, there's a modding community on PC that can fix it. I don't know if I'm going to continue playing Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition because I feel like I don't have a reason to. I'm so good at Chrono Cross that it's like it's not even a challenge anymore. You know, there's nothing in that game that challenges me.
I
So
feel like because you people have recommended me playing Chrono Cross again. I've told people I played it, but like, oh, I should play it again. You know, see how it's aged. I'm like, no, because I like the time I played it with you is probably my all time favorite playthrough. So like, it'll never top that. Like it was so fun. I wish we would have recorded some of the moments in that game because like.
yeah,
I still think of like some of the shit we experienced that like had me in fucking tears laughing because it was so funny.
just the
And
terrible fucking companion Pierre just getting the final hit with like 3 damage constantly for some reason. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? This is ridiculous.
the, now the other thing was wasn't it Kid who like we had about the worst role on Kid you could possibly have because I remember like you know not it's like her favorite character Rochelle, so I was like, oh so maybe this character is decent, and then like this I'm like this fucking chick can't hit the broadside of a barn, like she sucks.
Yeah, because in the background, all the companions that you get or party members get stat boosts if you don't use them in the background just to keep them like leveled up throughout the game.
Yeah.
And the stat boosts they get are randomized, and your kid had like some terrible ass accuracy, and we just could not get her useful at all. So that was a nightmare.
It
Yeah, I
was so
remember
fun.
that.
And we did about everything you could. We get the Master Mune, or we got both of the weapons. We got Pierre's hero armor, and he's still. I remember we got the hero armor piece, and he still sucked. I'm like, oh, like why does he suck so bad? Like what?
Yeah, he's a terrible party member, dude. He's just one of the worst. Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah, because like the thing that I stress with people is that like once you get the Master Mune, the game's over because
yeah,
they're guaranteed crits with Surge. And then if you go and get like the Virgo element
uh-huh.
that like allows him to like perform like 10 actions in a row, and you buff him with the strength element, and then when the Virgo element runs out, you use like Fargo to give him Eagle Eye and whatnot, dude. That game is over. You can just melt bosses
Uh-huh.
down in like a couple rounds. It's
Yeah,
disgusting, you
yeah,
know. But
yeah. Great game. I would say, yeah, you don't really need to go back. Like I think you've got the memories. I don't stain your memories with this Radical Dreamers edition because I know when I saw it was fucked up. I was like, I'm out. Like,
yeah, disgusting. It's a
yeah,
disgusting way to support your game. Because here's my thing: are you telling me that those hand drawn, hand painted backgrounds just don't exist anymore?
yeah,
Like how can you not get them naturally up to the current resolution if they were hand painted? How does that happen? You know,
right.
like there's whatever. But
I feel like it's even more egregious considering like the history of Chrono, like that franchise. Like you got to get that right.
yeah,
Got to get it right. Don't remake
ha-
it, Square. Don't remake it. Don't do it.
oh, they're 100% going to. The Chrono Trigger is like the break glass in case of emergency thing for Square. I think I really do. So, other than that, I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh, let's go.
I wanted to play the Phantom Liberty thing,
It's so
so
good. It is so good. Did I talk about it last pod?
yeah, you
Yeah.
did a little bit.
Man. Oh,
You've seen
baby.
how good it was. I did a thing. And I don't know how you feel about it. I started a new playthrough on PS5.
Okay, yeah, I'm with it.
I decided I wasn't going to use my PC build.
Mhm.
I started a new playthrough on PS5 because they added a ton of content to beat the
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
I beat the game in like when it first came out originally.
yeah,
So my character had to get respected and everything anyway. I was like, well, I might as well just start over. I'll
yeah.
start over. I'll play through the story. I'll, make different choices.
Mhm.
I'm
Or
really
are you a
trying.
nomad or a corpo or?
I'm a nomad.
I see. That's what I was. I was a nomad.
I'm really trying to do a like tech and like hacker approach.
Baby, when you do a Netrunner playthrough,
Hard. I do because
woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
all I want to do is sit there and fucking blast people's heads off.
Yeah.
But
See,
I don't
my
know.
build when I went through, I was a Netrunner stealth type of guy.
Mhm.
So like, I would use guns sometimes. Like usually, it would be a gun with a silencer or throwing knives. And then when I found the katanas, it was all over. Like people were dead. Then I had the Sandevitstan build from Edge Runners,
Oh, okay. It
and then people were fucking dead before they knew
was
they were dead.
over.
Yeah, just
Yeah, it was
oh,
over.
God,
Now, how
yeah.
satisfying for you was it after watching Edge Runners to just kill Adam Smasher?
It was fucking fantastic.
Did you let him live, or did you
Oh,
kill
no,
him at the end?
I killed him. There's no
I did too.
circumstance.
I was
There's
like,
no
"What's up,
circumstance where we
bitch?"
let Adam Smasher live. Like he wasn't living. Like
Yeah,
no,
what's up,
no, 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 no.
bitch? Fucking stabbed him with the katana. He's just sitting there on his knees. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
funny thinking you're gonna live.
yeah, no.
And
And dude,
then,
you get so OP in that game. When I fought Smasher, I fucked him up.
yeah, I did too. I absolutely ran through him.
Yeah.
And then jump back into Final Fantasy 14 because the Final Fantasy 16 event only lasts 3 more days. So I got to get my Final Fantasy 16 Torgal mount. I got to get my
Mhm.
armor, and that's just a quick quest line.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much time at all, but got to make sure I get that because you never know if it's gonna pop up again.
All right.
There's been several events I've missed, and the items have never come back.
So
So I got to make sure.
here's the thing with 14. I tried to get back into 14, and I have to call Square, and I'm dreading it.
Did you forget your password again? Dude, my guy, write it down. I can't take it
Yeah,
anymore.
no, I thought I did, and like when I went and opened my notes app on my phone, it was gone. I'm like, no.
It's
So I'm
rough.
just
It's
like,
rough.
yeah, that's why I haven't played it. I'm like, I just don't feel like dealing with this.
If you do the reset password through the desktop,
Mm,
it'll undo the timeout feature, and you can just reset. You should be able to reset your password.
okay, maybe I'll do that tonight.
Unless you have the dual factor authentication.
No, we're good.
Okay, then you should just be able to
We got
reset your
rid of that
password.
shit because I remember I also had the token, and then like the token would.
Mhm.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
Square, fix it. Fucking fix it.
I had to
Fix it.
reset. I had to call them and get it reset too because I had the token app through my phone. Then I got a new phone,
Yeah, and then that's
and
what I did. And yeah.
yeah, yeah, but if it's just a password, then it'll
Speaking
be
of
fine, dude.
speaking of phones, we're still running strong, pal. We're
I
still
appreciate that. I respect that. I
yeah.
respect that because
No
it's a
reason.
good phone.
Yeah, no, it's all reliable. It's great. It's
Yeah,
fucking and it's crazy because like I drop it all the time and like nothing happens to it. So
but yeah, Final Fantasy 14,
mhm.
phenomenal. I'm in the middle of the quest line right now with Clive and doing the Final Fantasy 16 crossover. It's a lot of fun.
Very nice.
In the story, because I'm not caught up on the story, but I want to get caught up for Dawn Trail. In the story, hey, Golbez
Oh,
shows up.
oh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Golbez about to catch these fucking hands.
Man, why do we keep fucking with Golbez, man? People need to leave Golbez alone.
Golbez shows up about to catch some fucking hands, dude. So, Pedro, what's the deal here? I'm gonna need you to get in Final Fantasy 14 and get caught up. You said you were gonna get caught up for Dawn
I
Trail,
know.
and
I
you
would
got it.
try it and ran into a fucking brick wall. I was like, no. And like it, you know how miserable dealing with Square's customer support is. It's awful.
It is. Yeah, it is.
It's awful.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm gonna try this week, and we shall see where we're at. We shall see. I'm so happy that you're getting back into Cyberpunk, though. Like when you play that Phantom Liberty DLC, babe. Mwah,
Better be good.
mm.
Better be good.
Chef's fucking kiss. Is that all you've been playing, Source? Before I get into
That's
mine.
it, dude. That's it.
All right, so I beat the Phantom Liberty DLC. I may have talked about it a little bit last show, but quick recap. Obviously, big fan of it. And there's like multiple quest lines at the end where you can get the different endings, and like each ending gives you like a way different mission. The mission I chose basically turns Cyberpunk into a straight horror game.
Hmm. It's
It's
interesting.
so fucking cool. At first I was like, this is like stressful, but I'm like, you know what, this is actually pretty cool. Like it's cool that what CD Projekt did with that, and just like Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves in the game is pretty fucking sweet, and like kind of how they play off each other in scenes and stuff. So it's fun. I really liked it.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get to it.
Yeah, I just beat the Outer Worlds literally today
Mm,
because I was watching Fallout. And I was like, man, I'm in a fucking Fallout mood now. And then I'm like, I don't really want to play Fallout 4. Like I liked Fallout 4, but I didn't love Fallout 4.
right.
And I see why. I see why, because even when I play the Outer Worlds, which is from Obsidian, who did New Vegas, which is like a lot of people's favorite Fallout game,
Hmm.
you can just see how much better the writing is. Like the writing is like not is like night and day. And what I like about the Outer Worlds, it's not one of these like super long games. It's one of those games I would classify as like a tidy piece of business. It's like 25 hours and you're out. Like that's but like you don't feel cheated. Like you get the lengthy meaty quests, you get the great writing, the story. I fucking loved the story. I'm actually really excited for the sequel. And there's also apparently DLC. Like there's one that's the murder on air. I can't pronounce the planet's name, but it's like a murder mystery that you got to do. It turns it basically like into like a detective noir game. So I'm interested to play that. But
I never
overall,
got into Outer Worlds. I've tried a few times and
I
never
loved it.
it never
I
sunk
loved
in.
it. See, I had the same problem where I just like kept stopping and starting, and like I never hated it, but it
Mhm.
just didn't get its hooks into me. And then for some reason now I just like this weekend I just sat down and fucking played it, and like the writing literally had me laughing with some of the fucking characters, like what they because it's got this like dark humor to it
Mhm.
where it's and like everyone's kind of sarcastic, and I like stuff like that. And you can make your character like the biggest sarcastic dickhead.
Okay.
And yeah, so memorable characters. Shout out to Sam. He's my favorite. He's the fucking robot. And like the companion quests are all really fun. So again, just a nice tidy piece of business. It's 25 hours long at max. You hit max level at 30, I think. So like
Okay.
yeah, so again, it's just like one of those quick nice playthroughs, not bad. I will say though, play the Spacer's Choice edition if you can. I played through on my One X because I had the physical disc. So I'm like, well, I'll just
Mhm.
play the base game, and it was a little janky. Like it had some of that irritating Bethesda jank that kind of like annoyed me a little bit. Where like you would get out of the menus and your frame rate would go down to like fucking 20 frames a second for whatever the fuck
Wow.
was. I didn't understand why because it's like literally even on the box it says enhanced for Xbox One X. So I'm like what the fuck. So I don't know about that. That was my only gripe on that. Where some of the times
Hmm.
like you would get those weird frame rate issues. But other than that, like I really really loved my time with the game, so I definitely recommend it.
How long to
Um,
beat has it at 13 hours for the main story? Not bad.
yeah, it's like I said, tidy piece of business. I did a lot of the side quests though, so that's why like my playthrough was about 10 hours longer. Because again, like I feel like if you don't do the side quests and the companion quests, you don't really get the full story and like just how
Mhm.
like especially like the board because like at first they don't really seem that bad, but then like you see some of the shit they do and how much like genuinely fucked up shit they're doing behind the scenes, and it's really good. And then like classic Obsidian quality writing, even in like the logs where you get like the deep lore of like the world and how they left the Earth and you're in the new colony and all that. So it's good stuff. Like I said, nice tidy piece of business. Great game. Then I fucked around with Amazon Luna this weekend because again, it was in a Fallout mood, and they have both the Fallouts. They're free on Prime Gaming this month.
Hmm.
So I
Oh,
fired up the Luna, and I'll be honest, it ran really well. It ran super well. I was like genuinely shocked with how like good it was. Like the latency, it's no latency virtually at all. And like I said, it was free, so I was like, huh. So I played like 10 hours of Fallout 3, which is way better than Fallout 4. It's not even close.
I agree. Actually, Fall 3 is
Yeah,
my favorite.
yeah, and they have the Game of the Year edition on there too. So you get all like the DLCs like the pit and all that other shit. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend that. And Luna is free if you have Prime. So like you'll get certain games that are free with Prime. So if those of you who
Now,
have
have you ever done the Game Pass streaming?
yeah, I don't like it.
Really? I think it's phenomenal.
I've had bad experiences with it. Like so
Mm.
like every time I've tried it, maybe my Wi-Fi wasn't the greatest, and I don't know. Like I just haven't really had great experiences with it. But I've also been playing it on like the game, like those Razer Ishis we bought.
Oh yeah, yeah, the Razer
Yeah,
Kishi.
like they just haven't really played all that great for me. But yeah, Luna ran fucking really well. I was like genuinely shocked at how well it ran. So yeah, again, those of you who have Amazon Prime and want to play Fallout, it's free on Prime. It's like that and New Vegas is on there. And then the other game I've been playing, because I was in a weird Uncharted mood. Like I kind of wanted I don't know what it was. It was like kind of a weird time of day. And I was like, what? It's starting to get warmer out. And I'm in the mood to fucking go explore some goddamn ruins and do some shit. And I was like looking like, well, I beat all the Uncharted games, so I'm not gonna replay them. Like I'm not gonna do that. And then I saw I was looking at like my collection. Like, oh yeah, I have these Tomb Raider games I never fucking played. So I started playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I will say, I don't know if I like it.
Really?
I don't hate it, but I don't know if I like it. I'm still in the
I thought
intro
Rise of the
area.
Tomb Raider was pretty exceptional, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Exceptional.
yeah.
Exceptional, he
That
says.
was one of the first games I played on my PC when I built it.
Okay. Now, am I off base with like getting the kind of having in that same space as Uncharted? Like, because that's the vibes it gives off.
I think
Even
I
though
think
obviously legacy wise, Tomb Raider, has more history, but
yeah, I don't know. I think Uncharted. Yeah, I guess they're similar enough in terms of theme that you would almost have to compare them.
yeah. Am I gonna
I
get
will
what I want?
say,
Am I saying essentially?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I think Tomb Raider, I think Rise of Tomb Raider is better. I mean, this is gonna be a super hot take. I think Rise of the Tomb Raider is better than Uncharted 3 and 4. I don't. I've been very vocal about not really liking Naughty Dog games after Uncharted 2,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna stick with that. I thought Rise of the Tomb Raider was like phenomenal, and then they for some reason just completely blew it with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Um, but I think the first two Tomb Raider games are good. I think there's no reason to go back and play the first one, but the second one I think is like top
Okay.
notch gaming.
Yeah, because that's what I'm playing is Rise of the Tomb Raider on my One X. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah, I
it
think it
looks
got a
really
10.
good.
I think it got a
Yeah.
10 from GameSpot, like one of the prestigious
Wow. All
10s.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. We may have to strap in. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I just for some reason was in the mood to like kind of explore some ruins and look for some treasure and kind of. I don't know why. It's just like in the summer months I like games like that. Like I've always have.
Mhm.
Because like even with Uncharted games, I would only play them during the summer. I don't know what it was. Just I don't know. But yeah, I've been like I said. I don't know if I like it, but now that you've given a glowing recommendation, maybe I will continue. Because I felt like I need to turn up the difficulty because the combat's like too easy.
Mm.
Because like I was like literally, I've been in the first area like sneaking around and just fucking dome piecing everybody with a bow and arrow. Like it's just like it's like not hard, and you can dome piece people from like fucking forever away. And that's kind of why I kind of don't like third person shooters for that exact
Mhm.
reason. But we're not there for the shooting; we're there for the other stuff, so we'll tolerate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say yeah. Just not other than that, not much going on. So now we're gonna go into the underbelly, and
Okay.
we have this isn't gonna be one of those negative underbellies things. It's one of those things where we're big Final Fantasy fans. Always have been, always will be, despite begrudgingly Square Enix over the years pissing us off to no idea. Even though they're back in our good graces now,
Mhm.
for now, historically we tend to shit on Square, but they also are the proprietor of one of our favorite RPG franchises of all time. It's probably both our number one favorite RPG franchise. I would be shocked if
I
that
would agree.
wasn't the case. And we're gonna rank it. You know how like adults say never rank your children. Bullshit.
Mhm.
You should. You should always have a ranking. You should be able to update the rankings. Like what? This is my least favorite child. They should know.
Make them
What?
compete.
Yeah, exactly. Ironically, Deion Sanders does this, and it's really funny. He'll like release the rankings of his kids like every month, and it'll be like kind of where.
I'm sure that goes over well.
Yeah, but yeah, you should rank the things you like because sometimes it'll change. Like I think my favorite Final Fantasy game 10 years ago probably isn't the same one I have now, and I will let you bat lead off. We'll go. Do you want to go top 5 or top 10?
Oh, I didn't know we were going for a top number. I just took all the ones that I've played and ranked them.
Okay, we okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I did. I did kind of, but I didn't know if you
So
wanted to do. I played a lot of Final Fantasy games.
I have 11 on here of the ones that I thought that I
Okay.
played. So like I played some of 6 and some of 5 and never beaten them. And I didn't feel like I felt comfortable enough ranking them. I didn't
Yeah,
put
yeah,
Dissidia. I didn't put Dissidia on here. I didn't put Crystal Chronicles on here or World of Final Fantasy because I find them hard to rank against like the mainline ones because they're
yeah.
not
No,
really
no. What we'll
there.
do is just our favorite ones. We don't need the rank like the main line or the new like just that franchise. We'll just kind of go see where it goes. We don't. I don't. We don't need
All right, my number one pick
it.
was the Final Fantasy 7 remake and rebirth games. Combine them to one. I think that is the best Final Fantasy has ever gotten. I think it's. I think if you're looking for a Final Fantasy experience, that's the one. That's the one you go with. I think that they're the newest and they nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Number two for me, Final Fantasy 14. I think that they nailed the Final Fantasy feel. They were able to take a game that was MMO and a complete failure, turn it around. One of the great comeback stories in all video games. And over time, they've listened to fan feedback, made it more and more single player, made the narrative better and better and better, especially the Shadowbringers expansion. Nailed it, knocked it out of the park with Shadowbringers. And I think that the post patches for Endwalker have also been very good as far as narrative goes. Narrative in Endwalker again, good story, bad pacing. So that's where I fall on Endwalker. After that, I have Final Fantasy 16 as my number three. What more can we possibly say about Final Fantasy 16? Complete mind melting moments, very adult story, adult cast, something you don't really see very much in Final Fantasy. You know, really really loved my time with Final Fantasy 16. Straight up just trading hands with other people, complete badass in the main character Clive, and just always willing to like square up. There's no pussyfooting around in Final Fantasy 16. It's all business. Clive stands on business and I respect that. After that I have the OG Final Fantasy 7. I feel like I don't need to explain why that's high on the list. It's a classic. After that I have Final Fantasy Tactics, a game that I really adored. I played it back in 2016 on my PSP. War of the Lions. Or I guess I played it on Vita, not PSP.
And I think
Had
it's,
a blast with
I
it.
think didn't you play it on PSP? When was
No, I
it
played it
War
on.
Lion?
Yeah, but I played it on Vita. We
Ah,
were able
okay,
to play
gotcha,
it on
gotcha,
Vita.
gotcha. Yeah.
Had an absolute blast playing Final Fantasy Tactics, and really blew me away. It was the first tactic game, like strategy game that I played and really enjoyed. I found the story very, very adult and very worthwhile. So really enjoyed it. After that, I got Final Fantasy IV with what I believe is the first entry in the main Final Fantasy where they're more recognizable. I think Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 they're so old that they hadn't really. I'll be honest. I don't think you need to play Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3.
I agree 100%. I tell people
Yeah,
this all the time.
yeah. There's no reason to. I don't. The narrative really isn't there. 4 is what brings your narrative forward in Final Fantasy and really makes the legacy of Final Fantasy start. And honestly, what a legacy that is with Kane and what's his other buddy's name?
Who?
The Kane's the friend.
Cecil?
Cecil, yeah. Or no, Cecil's the main character.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And Rydia and like all these love Final Fantasy 4. Big debate on whether you should play the Pixel remaster or the 3D. I prefer the 3D, but I know people also, love the Pixel. But after that, I got Final Fantasy 12, a game that I did not like at first, a game that I really shit on back in the day when it first came out. I still stand by my point that Van is a terrible protagonist. Really brings the game down. I hate his gay little vest and the way he moves. Really really massive of the beta protagonist in Final Fantasy. After that, I have 9, a game that most people, I think, and I think rightfully so, call the best of the PS1. I just didn't vibe with 9 when I was playing it. Me and you were playing it together, and we got pretty far into 9,
You
and
got
I
the
was just like,
PS2. Yeah.
I'm just not feeling it. I just didn't really connect with the characters, the story, and maybe I'll go back at some point and really give it a shot, but just wasn't feeling it. After 9, Final Fantasy 10, a game that I just feel like doesn't need to exist. Again, you got a really whiny bitch main protagonist in Titus. You have a useless character that should be more prevalent in Kiminari.
Oh, Kamari.
Is it Kamari, not
Yeah,
Kiminari? Yeah,
it's
Kamari.
Kamari. Yeah.
Guy's a total badass, doesn't do anything in the story. You
Worst
got
Dragoon ever.
yeah, you've got a decision to voice act the game and has some legendarily bad voice acting moments. A really weak main antagonist, and well, I mean, any take your pick in the antagonists of the game, and they're all weak, right? Like
Yeah.
Seymour,
Correct.
Sin,
Yeah.
Jacked. None
Yeah.
of them are really
Yeah. No.
interesting. So
You in Alaska.
yeah. After that, Final Fantasy VIII, a game that I think is just a turd and a half, dude. Don't give me a JRPG that has level scaling. Don't give me a story that doesn't make any fucking sense. Don't let the fandom create a theory that makes a story make sense about Squall being dead after disc 2, like just not just a complete mess of a game. After Final Fantasy 8, in my last spot, Final Fantasy 15.
Hmm.
In my opinion, the most uninteresting, bland piece of shit Final Fantasy game I've ever played in my whole life. I just a game that I really wanted to love, a game that I platinumed, a game that I did everything in, and yeah, just fuck off, Final Fantasy 15. You spit on the franchise and do not appreciate it existing at all.
Okay. Yeah, that's a tough act to follow. But see, for me, I view 7 in a bit of a different light than you do. Not that in it like not from a quality standpoint, but for me, just and I have it ranked 1 just because what that entails. I feel like that's the most complete Final Fantasy experience you could have,
Okay.
and I'm including the original 7, Crisis Core,
Oh, the
and then
compilation.
yeah,
Okay.
just that whole compilation, just what's there. I feel like that's the most complete experience, and we're still waiting on the third piece of the remake stuff. But as far as just like a design standpoint and the story, I feel like Final Fantasy 7 is one of the only Final Fantasy that people genuinely love every character. Like those characters are beloved. They're like
Yes.
I don't think I've ever, heard anyone really talk negative about the characters that much, but and just what it means for the franchise and what it means to me because like I didn't fall in love with Final Fantasy 7 until really remake. Like
Hmm.
I wasn't a Final Fantasy 7 guy. I thought it was a little bit overrated. But when I played remake and I kind of saw, what I just felt like they kind of wrote those characters the way that they were meant to be written, and it made me go back and play the original and get an appreciation for what they were doing at that time. And then Crisis Core is probably one of my all-time favorite games, ever. But like, especially in that compilation, it's still probably my favorite because I really love the story of Crisis Core. I mean, it's I've got my criticisms for sure. Where, it's there's definitely that '06 angsty fucking leather-clad weirdos running around. But but as far as like some of the moments in that game, like I genuinely loved. And then Rebirth is probably like out of that whole compilation, Rebirth is my favorite. Like I fucking played the shit out of Rebirth. I loved every second of Rebirth. I didn't
Yep.
want Rebirth to end.
Right.
So and then just the amount of content they packed into it, how they really fully realized that world. And I feel like besides Final Fantasy 14, this is the first time Square Enix has really been able to fully realize the world. Like that world is one that you feel is a living and breathing world, and there's so much to do, so much to see. I just thought they did a top notch job with it, and there's like, and still some of the end game content. Like I still have to do a bunch of the end game stuff that maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. But I like I like that I have the option that it's there. I also have a sneaking feeling we're gonna get a Dirge of Cerberus DLC. I just have a feeling we're gonna get it because
A
I
DLC for Dirge Cerberus, huh? You think that's
yeah,
what's doing?
I feel like that's the way you do that because I don't think
Okay.
you can possibly you can't ignore it. Like I don't think that's right. But
Mhm.
like I think if you just give us a DLC, clean it up, the gameplay wise, because a lot of people didn't like the gameplay of it, if I remember correctly from back in the day, and just give us Vincent and his story, and then leading into the next Final Fantasy part, he's going to be playable. I just feel like they're going to follow that same formula, but that's just my opinion there. So second, I have Final Fantasy 9 as my second one. I have it ranked a little bit ahead. I have it ranked ahead of 14 just because I have more fond memories of 9. Just
Sure.
I'm attached to that game, and then just the story. I love the characters, but again, like I said with 7, like not every character is beloved in 9. Like a lot of people. So if you ask most people about 9, their favorite character is probably going to be Vivi. Like that's
Right.
literally that's like the consensus favorite character, and I get why he's like little mage, but his story is really fucking sad. There's some definite sad boy energy with Vivi. Uh,
Mhm.
but I feel like when if that game ever gets a remake, you're gonna see me shed like one gangster tear because like I feel like if they do it right, if they give it the, I don't know if they will. I don't know if it'll get the same love like 7 got. Like
Mhm.
a true love letter. Like we're gonna do this right. Like I don't know if they're gonna do that with 7 or with 9, but if they do, I will fucking you'll because like that's a world where I made my comment that like a fully realized world. I feel
Mhm.
like we didn't really get that with 9 because technical limitations and just that game design back then didn't really allow for that. But I feel like Alexandria and Gaia is like a world you really want to run around and explore, and I feel like they can do a fully beautiful world with these characters
Sure.
because it's like one of those Final Fantasy that goes back to the classic Final Fantasy where it's like, that fantasy style and there's dragons and orcs and goblins and shit. Like I just that aesthetic I think really works for 9.
I just
So yeah,
wish they hadn't messed around with the art
with the art
style, you
style.
know?
But you
Yeah.
know what's weird though? Like, I mean, granted, High Titan's 2020, but like I can't imagine this game looking any different. Like I can't
Yeah.
imagine it. You know what I mean? Like it'd be weird.
Yeah.
But it is weird seeing like you know how like Dissidia NT came out and like you see like the guys in like high def and all that.
Mhm.
Like I feel like if you had if you had changed the art style, you could have put more people in the Dissidia because I feel like the reason only Zidane is in it and Kuja is because nobody else would have made sense. Like you
Yeah.
can't put like they would have looked fucking weird.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then third's gonna be a little controversial, but I have Final Fantasy 6 third.
I don't think that's controversial at all.
Well, because I feel like a lot of people don't put love on. They do, but they don't give it enough love. Because I feel like 6 is like probably one of the best stories I've ever written, and Kefka is like one of the most memorable villains of all time. Like if you see any Final Fantasy villain list ranked, he's usually on there, like right along with Sephiroth. And I just feel like with that time and my memories of it, like I remember the first time I played Final Fantasy 6 was on an emulator, and I remember being glued to this fucking game. Like the story like hooked me, and I remember just like that was like one of the first times I was like fully invested in a Final Fantasy story,
Mhm.
and just genuinely loved some of the characters. I would love to see this one get a remake. Like I think they could do a lot with this one, and it's one of those things like if you remake this, don't change the story. Like don't change anything.
Right. Right. I agree.
Yeah, and so I don't know, a lot of love, and I love like the optional characters like Shadow and Gal, the other guy who's optional, I believe. Like you can totally miss characters and miss so many key moments of the story.
Mhm.
So yeah, like a lot of love for 6. A lot of love for 6. After 6, I have 14
Okay.
because 14 is another one where I feel like that. I feel like Aurorazia is like a fully fucking realized world, but like it's almost. It's a compliment, but it's almost like it couldn't not be. You can't do an
Right.
MMO and not like have a
Right.
fully realized world. But I just love what they've done with the game. It's a fun game. I love the game, and it's so accessible now. It's probably the most accessible MMO on the market because really, if you tell people like, "Oh, I'm going to play this MMO," like people our age probably think WoW, or even older people think what EverQuest was the other big one.
Yep, EverQuest.
And I think this one blows it out of the water. Like, just as far as accessibility, and like the community is really great.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one time I ran into like a toxic player, but it was funny because it was making fun of Watson. So we'll give it a pass. He's like, yeah, I'll heal, I'll slow down so you can heal, or what the fuck he was saying. Like he basically told Watson he sucked at healing. Like it was like it was our tank. Is like, I'll aggro to your level. I was like, ooh, that wound, that was a deep wound.
That's rough. That's a rough one.
Yeah, so definitely gonna give that its flowers. So after 14, I have Final Fantasy 10, and for me, 10. I don't like Titus or Titus, where the fuck his name is, never did. But some of this, some of the stuff in 10 is some of the most sophisticated and delicate storytelling I think in a Final Fantasy game. Because if you peel back the layers of Final Fantasy 10, I know I always say this about this game. There's a lot of themes of racism. Like that's a big theme in that game. Religion, and like religion used to assert control. There's even like, if you look at the All Bed, they're and this is going to be a bit of a controversial statement, but they're kind of a play on like what's going on in the world today, where like they're kind of out in the desert. They're people in the Middle East. I feel like they're kind of a commentary on the Middle East. Those people, and how they're hated and they're seen as terrorists and all this other stuff. So I think, yeah, I think 10 did a lot of really cool stuff as far as like being able to tell a story that has those themes and doing it in a way that it's tasteful. Because if you look at really like Waka, if you break down the character of Waka, he is a raging fucking racist bigot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then like he's forced to work with people, and like it's crazy because like it's all based on what religions told him that he needed to believe, and this is what it is. And they're from some backwater island, and they're essentially Hicks. Like, so it's just like there's a lot of deep stuff in there, and you'll definitely miss it. I think the game doesn't do a great job of like kind of making that very apparent. It just tells its story. But if you really like put that context into kind of like the world was at the time then, and now the way the world is now, that story is actually fairly powerful. And like what they do with like the religion being like the big bad villain, essentially, I don't know, I'll always have love for that storytelling. But there are definitely some issues with it. Like the voice acting is really bad, but I also feel like in that time period, voice acting wasn't good. So it's like it's hard for me to knock the game for it, because it's kind of what they had to work with. And
Okay.
then, but the battle system's one of my favorite. The spear grid system's cool. Like I love the customization of all the characters. Like I remember when you could first teach like everyone haste, and like
Mm-hmm.
you get Hastega and all this. You would get some badass abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Blitzball, one of my all-time favorite minigames, Blitzball. Shout out to Blitzball. Love the Blitzball. After 10, I have 16.
Okay.
So 16, it's not that I don't like 16. I loved 16. 16 is one of my, it's an all-time banger for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like 16 will not get that love that the other Final Fantasies get, because of that darker tone, because of the way the world's set up. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I didn't have a problem with this. I really didn't. I really love the way the game is played. Like the memorable moments with the summons are fucking badass. Like they were definitely mind melting. Like, holy shit, I can't believe this is what I'm playing right now. I really got Game of Thrones vibes from it, like a little bit. How because it was like a mature one, and there was a lot of twists and turns. But I do feel like this didn't. This probably didn't hit for not classic Final Fantasy fans, but traditional Final Fantasy fans, where like the world didn't feel like there was a ton of stuff to do, but the story is designed that there is no way it could be. There's nothing to be
Right.
happy about. Like it's
Right.
not fun and merriment. And I feel like because it's notice there's no mini games, there's no big giant side quests that there's none of that. Like, and again, the game's designed that like, or the story, excuse me, is such that it can't be. but I do feel like that's why people are going to hold shit against this Final Fantasy because it doesn't have that. I don't know. I don't know if any of that changes with the DLCs. I don't think it does, but
I
I don't
haven't
know.
played the DLC yet.
Yeah, yeah, but I just to put it in perspective, like 7 remake or rebirth had like Queen's Blood and Fort Condor,
Right.
like there's all the Golden Saucer, all this shit that like people will remember this game for. And
Right.
granted, the story's written in a way that the planet's dying and all this stuff, but this is what they're doing. The other side of that is 16, where the world's fucking dead. It's on the brink of dead, and like there's nothing to be happy about. People are oppressed or fucking try not to die and starve, and it's fucked up. Shit's not cool. Shit's not sweet.
Yeah.
Shout out to White Thanos. Yeah, but yeah, I'll always love 16. My only knock on it, certain fights are a little too long, but they're still fun as shit though. And I say that because like there was one time I was fighting Titan and I was sitting there doing the boss fight. Adam like was watching, then he walked away for like 40 minutes and came back. He's like, "You're still fighting him?" I was like, "Yeah, buddy. We're still mixing. We're still getting
I
it in."
love that fight though, dude. That fight is so good, especially. Well, I mean, both of them are. Both of
Yeah,
them are definitely super, super good.
yeah,
But I love the first one, especially how it ends.
yeah. Oh yeah, it ends in one of the most badass ways possible.
Mm-hmm.
So after 16, I will rank World of Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Now, I will always have a lot of love for World of Final Fantasy because I remember when I bought it. This was back in my major collector phase. So at the time, I literally only bought it for the collection. Like, oh, this is gonna be like a game that people aren't gonna talk about. It's got this art book that comes with it. It's got a slip cover. I'm like, all right, I'm in. So I bought it, and then like I was waiting for Final Fantasy 15, and like I had about a month before Final Fantasy 15 came out. So I feel like they didn't do this game any favors, fucking sliding it out right before. Like, come on. But when I played it, it is essentially Pokemon with Final Fantasy characters.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, but there's so much fan service in this game that like if you're a Final Fantasy fan, like if you genuinely love that franchise and you've played a majority of the games and you know who the
Mm-hmm.
characters are, like there's so much fan service here that I think it's worth the playthrough. I think it took me like 50 hours to beat, and it was a nice little snack before what at the time was the big one, was the meal, with Final
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy 15. So I'll always have a lot of love for that game. The characters are funny. A story surprisingly dark, a little shockingly dark to be honest with you. But nothing will ever beat like there's when you get the summons or like chibi summons, and watching Sephiroth do Meteor with like little chibi Sephiroth do it is like one of the fucking funniest things in the world. So like I'll always have a lot of love for this game. It's just one of those games like again, if you're a big Final Fantasy fan and you like fan service, then I would highly recommend this game. Like it's good
The
stuff.
goofiness kind of threw me off with it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it's definitely
the
goofy.
the goofiness and like stacking and stuff like that. I was like,
Mm.
nah.
It's surprisingly complex. It's like super deep. The combat, I will stand by that combat. It's deep, like because you got to get people to wobble, and if you get them to wobble, then you can knock them over. They can really fuck up some bosses. There's even a Xenogears reference in there. Like you fight one of the
Really?
boss. Yeah, you fight one of the bosses from Xenogears. I forget which
Hmm.
one it is. Yeah, it's like so just shit like that. Like the level of like fan service they did in there. Like you fight one of the people from Xenogears, you fight the Omega weapons from 7. Like you do some shit in there.
Mhm.
So you're like basically exploring the world of Final Fantasy, not to be corny, but like that's what it really is.
Hmm.
And it's just cool to see shit like that. So I would recommend it. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, it's a fun playthrough. After World of Final Fantasy, this is a me pick. Type Zero. Now, a lot of people don't like Type Zero. A lot of people do not like Type Zero. I understand why. I 100% get it. It's not for everybody, but it's probably the darkest Final Fantasy story you could possibly have. After even it, I think it's even darker than 16. Like probably by a lot.
Super dark.
Yeah, because even like the first fucking hour of the game, they straight up murder a Chocobo. Chocobo dead. Like just let you know we're not fucking around. And just the story of Class 7 and yeah, Class 7, right? Yeah, they're Class 7. Yeah, I fucked myself up there for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. Are we?
I'm pretty sure you're right. I'm pretty sure it is
Yeah.
7, but
Well, yeah. The reason I hesitated there because I'm like, well, we have another class 7, but that's
yeah,
not.
it sounds right to me. But I didn't play it too much, so
Yeah. But the dark themes of the story and basically its story in a nutshell is like you're in this endless cycle of war because this is in that fabula novella Crystallis
hmm
era. So like the Lassie and all this other shit are controlling stuff in the cycle, blah blah blah. But it's just one of my favorite ones. It was the first, not next. I don't want to say next gen because it definitely wasn't, but it was the first JRPG on the PS4 and Xbox 360 or Xbox One. It was that first one we got, and then again, this is tied into 15 when we were just waiting for 15, waiting for 15. This gave me like that Final Fantasy fix that I needed, to get me through. And I, like I said, love the characters, love the music. It was the first Final Fantasy game I ever platinumed, so a lot of love there. And the combat's fun because you get all these different characters, and each one of them does different things. Like one of the guys is a monk, the other guys is like a gunslinger, another one's a dragoon. Ironically, there's somebody with a scythe. I forget what class that is, but
I don't remember.
yeah,
Reaper, I guess, would
yeah,
be a
they're basically a reaper. Like there's so many different play styles. And yeah, like I said, just great game, super fun, very dark, and the graphics probably haven't aged well because again, it's a remake of a PSP game, or
yeah.
like so it's like, hey, like what do you want them to do? But yeah, fun stuff. Rounding it out, I have Final Fantasy 12.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 12. I, like you, did not like that fucking game first when I first played it. Like I hated it, but I feel like we got that at a time we weren't ready for that. Like when that game
Okay.
first came out, we weren't like, think about what our expectations of Final Fantasy were at the time. Like we wanted our turn based, like we wanted
Okay.
it, that's what it was. And then you
hmm
kind of give us this like MMO like style combat where I remember when 11 first came out, like people were pissed that they made it a mainline Final Fantasy.
hmm
Like, cause like you're like, you don't fucking do that. You don't make a mainline Final Fantasy an MMO. Not everyone's gonna play. People are not that happy at all.
Right. Right.
And then 12 came out and they had that weird combat at first, and then like nobody liked Van, and like I remember just not liking it. And then when the Zodiac Age came out on PS4, I literally only bought it because I had a steelbook. I was that guy, and and it's a sweet steelbook. Don't regret it. But I sat down. I'm like, you know what? I fucking spent all this money on this fucking game. Let me sit down because this is back when I was like living in South Williamsport and I had like fucking torn my meniscus, so I was off work.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Let's sit down. Let's fucking play this game. Let's see what's going on here. And I remember sitting down playing it, and like certain things still came back. Like at first, I still didn't like the combat. I still didn't like Van. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this just isn't for me. Like maybe this just isn't my game. Then Balthier showed up. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah. Both
okay,
are sweet.
yeah. Like Balthier is my guy. I like Bronth and fucking some of the other characters. The judges were great, and I found myself like loving the music, and like, man, I really love Evil East. Like I really love this world. Like I developed a genuine love for it, and I felt like the judges were so fucking cool.
hmm
I thought the big ships being named after some of the summons was badass. And then I'm like playing it, I'm starting to get Star Wars vibes. I'm like, yo, like this is like, and like the story, like the story is like super fucking dark and like political, and there's all this fucking deceit. People were always trying to fuck everyone over. I love that the main villain's a fucking monk, which you never really see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's true.
Yeah, got to give monk some love. But yeah, just great game. And then when it really clicked, when it finally clicked, was when I finally figured out the combat. When I finally was like sat down, I was like, okay, with this gambit system, you can really set your shit up to like you're fucking making moves, and like then that's when it clicked. I'm like, oh, I love
hmm
this game. And then I started doing side quests. Like I beat Gilgamesh. I did all this other shit in there, and and that was again like one of the biggest full worlds I felt like that was like almost fully realized. I'm like, oh, I just want to see what else this world has to offer. I still feel like there's secrets in that game I have not found, and but I really genuinely love that game. That's like if I had a top 5, that'd be in there. But as far as like
hmm
ranking, kind of where they all fit for me, it's towards the bottom of the list. But I got a lot of love for 12, and then rounding it out. the last one. And this is going to be a bit of a hot take. 13.
Oh, you know what? I completely forgot to rank 13 on my list. It'd be towards the bottom.
Yeah. Now 13, this is going to be weird because I've never actually fully beaten 13.
Mm-hmm.
But I've played enough of 13 where I can definitely have an opinion on it. And first off, the graphics still hold up to this day. Great fucking graphics. And it's still like if you fire it up, like when I fired it up on my series my 1X like a few weeks ago, I was like, holy shit, this still looks good.
Yeah, it does.
So shout out to them for that. Like that's shout out number one. Number two, it's probably my favorite soundtrack of all time on 13.
It's very good. It's very good.
Especially that first opening, that dun dun dun. It's so relaxing and just kind of you feel like you're about to go on this like quest, and I don't know. I really like that. The combat, I really like the combat, the synergy, or the not the synergy, the I forget what the fucking call that system.
I don't
Where you
remember
have
anymore.
the paradigms,
Yeah, the paradigm switch.
and like how complex that system actually is. Where if you
Mm-hmm.
like if you're about to get hit and you switch to a defensive paradigm at the right time, you'll get buffs.
Yep.
And then the world of that game, I feel like it sucks because a lot of it's stuck behind text.
Right.
But when you actually take the time to sit down and read the text and like get the full scope of what's going on, it's like it's a lot. And then the other thing is the story. So the story is one that's like, I know a lot of people say it's linear and blue, but if you really take the time and like really understand storytelling, there's no way they could have made that game differently. Like the story had to be that way. It's almost like because you when you're given a focus, right? You have to, that is your only focus, and every time you try to deviate from that, you're gonna run into walls. So you stay on track, and the story's written that way, and so I understand why the game's designed that way. The other part of it, think about it. That was the first next gen Final Fantasy. That was the first one, and they're trying to get the graphics down, and I don't think we would have gotten the graphical fidelity like you said earlier to have a game still look that good, but like the world be this huge thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
100%.
I'll always have a lot of love for that game. And then what the 13 series turned into, like I haven't played 13-2, but I know it's good and I want to play
Mm-hmm.
it. And I've never heard negative stuff about 13 or Lightning Returns. I've never heard anything really negative about it. Like people genuinely liked it.
I mean, I loved it. I know a lot of people had a lot of serious problems with it. I think at that point it was mostly because they were sick of the 13 games. They wanted
But
something
they're
different.
not bad games, so I just don't get like.
They're not bad. They're just I find their persistence with the 13 series
That
strange,
that
considering they
yeah.
were not really beloved either. You
Yeah,
know?
that took balls. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of weird. Like they kept doubling down on this, and
Yeah.
I don't know. And then like I guess the honorable mention. I feel like I can't comment on Final Fantasy and not talk about 15 because I feel like I'm the world's leading expert on 15. Uh, like I feel like if there's ever any podcast about Final Fantasy 15, I need to be on it. Like
Yeah, for sure.
consult me. But I my heart breaks for this game because like I wanted to love it. Part of me still does love it, like to a degree, because like this was the Final Fantasy game that like the first mainline game that I platinumed, and like where I discovered like the real love for the post game content, and so I'll always have like fond memories of that stuff. But
Sure.
as far as a cohesive story and like being entertaining to somebody, like you can't recommend this because I just had my buddy Jordan play through it recently because he wanted to see what was up, and I told him like, dude, this is a little tough to get into because like if you want the full story, you have to go about it this way. You got to watch. I mean, you don't have to play Knight's Tale or King's Tale, excuse me. Like it's kind of dumb, but if you want to know, kind of get a little bit more context on Regis, you could play it. Little beat 'em up, but I don't even think you can download it anymore. But so there's that, and then you got to watch Brotherhood, the OVA, to get the
Mm-hmm.
context on fucking Prompto and Noctis and Ignis and the fucking large dickhead's name. I forget his name. Gladio.
Gladiolus.
So then there's that, and then you got to watch Kingsglaive because that little 2-hour morsel sets up the beginning of 15. So you got to watch that.
Right. Right.
And then when you play through 15, you might as well have the DLC pre-installed because if you don't, you're gonna basically have people fuck off during the story, like kind of wander the fuck off, and then all of a sudden show back up. Like I remember there was a famous part where Gladio wanders off,
Mm-hmm.
comes back, doesn't
For no reason, by the way.
doesn't yeah for no reason say I gotta go handle something. Now, if you play episode Gladiolus, you'll know he goes to fight Gilgamesh and take the trial of Gilgamesh, which is again that's the worst fucking DLC I've ever played. But he does that, and then that's why he comes back with that giant scar on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
But then, even though when he first comes back to the party, he tries to hide it, and he's like in some fucking astronaut suit. It's weird. It's like a weird comeback. And then you have this stuff with Ignis, where at some point in the story, some shit goes down, and then all of a sudden Ignis is blind, and well, hold on, like when did he get blinded? What happened? And then you go to the DLC, which episode Ignis is actually a really good DLC.
It
It's
is, yeah.
they're really good, but you wouldn't know that if you don't buy it. So you got to play through episode Ignis, and then you learn that like he gets blinded because he puts the fucking ring on. Does I'm spoiling this game, by the way, but fuck it. He puts the ring on and has to sacrifice his vision because the ring of the Lucii is the most fucked up ring possible. Like, oh, we'll give you our power, but it's going to cost you. It's stupid. So that happens to him. Then you go trucking along, and you're on a fucking train, and Promptos falls the fuck off the train, and all of a sudden, and he's like, okay, Prompto's just gone. We don't know what happens to Prompto unless you play the DLC. And then Prompto's backstories from Nibelheim or Nibelheim. I forget. It's so confusing, that goddamn enemy.
Yeah.
If it's Nibelheim, it's stupid.
I think it's Niflheim.
Niflheim. Like I really fucking hated when they did that. It's like when Persona did Yosuke and Yusuke.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. Don't be stupid. So there's that, and then like when you find Prompto again, he's just kind of around, and you're like, oh, okay, welcome back, Prompto. And then you get to a door you can't open. Prompto's, nah, fam, I got you. Beep, and just opens the door. You're like, hold on, wait a minute. And then you get to chapter 13 that famously they had to fix because chapter 13 is so fucking bad, the original. And then they had literally had to fix it. But then let's rewind a little bit. Remember when you get to the kingdom of, I can't think of the goddamn kingdom now, where fucking Luna's from.
Oh.
No, it was on the tip of my damn tongue. Fuck.
I can't. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's supposed to be this kingdom that's like this lush world that, like, a lot of forests and all this stuff. It's supposed to be like the next kingdom, and then you can't explore it. You're there, you literally set foot and hop on a train straight to the end.
Yeah, famously cut from the game.
Yeah. So there's that, and then you play the end, and the end happens, and the one cool summon you get in the game is Bahamut, and you only fucking get him in the end, and then you gotta download episode Arden, because that gives Arden's backstory, and then for you to get the real ending of Final Fantasy 15, the true genuine ending, you gotta get the book New Dawn, because they canceled the second half of the DLCs because they were just done with Final Fantasy 15. So Final Fantasy 15, it is so hard to get that complete story because they fumbled the bag so hard on that, to the point where the director of that game just straight quit. He's like, I'm out. Like, fuck this.
Yeah, fucking dude, I'm telling you, the game's a piece of shit. It's
yeah.
They had good intentions, they fucked it up, and I hate that game. I spent so much time trying to like that game, and I'm never gonna.
Because it's because they literally tried to save Versus 13. It's because of that fucking game. I feel like we should at some point. I don't know if we can do a whole podcast on that specific game, on like kind of the vibes, but like if you just rewatch that trailer and how in people were for fucking Versus 13 because it looked sick, and that game then entered development hell.
Yep.
And then they were like, oh wait, we can't just cancel it. Let's make it Final Fantasy 15. You make this story make sense. And yeah, you just can't do it.
Nope.
Can't do it. But yeah. So yeah, that's my list. So last question on these Final Fantasy games. Where do you want to see the series go moving forward? Like, what do you want Final Fantasy 17, whenever we get that, when we're old, gray in our beards? Like, what do you want that game to be? Like, what would be your expectations?
I want them to continue with more adult storytelling, deep storytelling. I mean, the what I've come to realize is the gameplay can be almost anything in a Final Fantasy game, and that my feelings towards it doesn't really change. It's the stories that they tell and that they share themes, and I think that's where Final Fantasy's bread and butter is. I mean, and we're fucking back, dude. You know, after Final Fantasy 16 and Rebirth and Remake, and Square's in a good place with the Final Fantasy franchise right now, and I have all the faith in the world that they're going to continue this momentum right now. And that when if they make a Final Fantasy 17, which I'm sure they will at
They
some
will.
point,
Yeah, they will.
I keep waiting for them to drop the fucking numbering, but I think it's going to be good. And I do think that we're going to see a return to maybe a more fantasy driven nature for the series, and I can't wait for the next entry in the series. Final Fantasy has won its way back in the hearts of the fans, I think. And then there's always certain people that are just miserable no matter what,
Yeah.
and they're always complaining in every section of the game because they grew up with a certain gameplay style, and they think Square Enix should make the next mainline Final Fantasy a fucking 8-bit
Yeah. No.
turn-based game. It's like, no, that's never going to happen.
No. Go play Octopath Traveler or
Yeah,
whatever it's called. Right?
exactly. Or I Am Setsuna or any of the other
Yeah.
million games they release that are turn-based.
Right.
But yeah, I think the future for the series is looking really good. What they are going to do, you never know because every Final Fantasy game is different. You know, it could be drastic. It could be a sci-fi game for all we know. It's just
He,
it's
he,
drastically different every time.
here's my theory of like what I think they're gonna do. I think one of these next Final Fantasies is gonna be a sequel to like one of the older ones.
Mm,
Like I wouldn't be
I can see
shocked.
that.
I wouldn't be shocked if one of these next Final Fantasies was like a sequel to 2 or 3.
Mm,
And
I can see
I
that.
say specifically 2 or 3 because like unfortunately they shot their load with one with Stranger of Paradise. So like you can't do that anymore. Like
Right.
that would have been the one to remake, like to kind of redo the original NES Final Fantasy, but like make it a sequel or something like that. But yeah, I think because like with we even said it like with 2 and 3, you don't really need to play those games. Like the stories aren't very memorable, but like I feel like you can do the most with those 2 games as far as like creatively, and then that gives you that classic aesthetic. And I don't know, I just feel like you can do more with that stuff. But
I agree.
yeah, the other thing I would like to see them do is same thing with you. I would like to see them stick with the fantasy aesthetic. I think I don't know, like I don't know if I don't know if I like sci-fi Final Fantasies. I don't think I don't know if I'd like that. I'd be open to it, but I just feel like maybe this is our age talk or my age talking. Like I feel like as far as I want to go is like what 7 is, like that kind of cyberpunk
Yeah, sure.
type world. But other than that, like I don't really feel like that fits Final Fantasy. But yeah, I'm excited to see where they're going moving forward. I'm gonna be fucking real sad when I'm fucking 40 years old and Final Fantasy 17 is coming out. Like fuck.
I don't think it'll be that long. Final Fantasy 16 came out pretty quick, so
Yeah, but with our boy Yoshi P,
yep,
I think
he
we're in
get
good hands.
he gets it done.
Shout out to Creative Business Unit 3.
Yep.
All right, so rounding out the show, we have our misconduct list. First on the misconduct list, and this is debatably a misconduct, but I just kind of stuck that in there to be funny. Bethesda. So IGN posted a story that Redfall anniversary comes and goes as those who bought $100 edition still await promised DLC. So Redfall's 1 year anniversary came and went on May 2nd, 2024 with no word from publisher Bethesda, despite the widely panned game receiving no updates in 6 months and the owners of the $100 edition still awaiting additional content. As reported by Kotaku, fans who bought the $100 backbite edition of Redfall, despite this base game being available day one at no additional cost on Game Pass, were hoping for an announcement for their missing DLC. Excuse me, as an anniversary celebration. So really, maybe the way I should have worded it is like the Redfall fans, like, did you really think they're going to sit there and celebrate this shit? Like,
Yeah,
like
I think. The better move is what they did and just ignore it.
Like, come on, man. Like, we are definitely a podcast that is not afraid to make fun of Bethesda, but like to sit there and expect them to celebrate one of their biggest fucking L's of last year is like a little
Hmm.
crazy. It's a little crazy. That'd be like Nintendo, like, yo, it's the fucking 40th anniversary of the fucking Legend of Zelda Wanna Gamelon. Yay. Remember the CDI? Yeah, let's celebrate that.
Yeah,
Or Sony being like, fucking, let's celebrate Mag.
yeah. You don't celebrate failures. I don't
Yeah.
know who. I have a hard time believing there was a large majority of anybody that was waiting on Redfall DLC. It's never coming. They're
And
almost certainly just done with it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we don't celebrate failures because if you do, or if you think fans really like failures, you set yourself up to get trolled like Sony. Remember what they did
hmm
with Morbius?
yeah, 100%. I can't believe they fell for it.
One of the
Bunch
all-time
of idiots.
one of the all-time trolls. Okay. We'll save the big one for last. The second on the misconduct list, 343. Did you see this little headline? Halo Infinite's getting its very own Helldivers 2 Forge tribute called Helljumpers.
No, I didn't see this.
I see what they're trying to do. I get it. It's like a play on words. But this is so fucking corny. This is so corny. Like
Well, because
it's
Helldivers is clearly inspired by
yeah,
Halo in some way. So I think it may just be like a little fun thing they're
corny.
doing. Yeah,
It's
I don't
not
know.
fun. No one has fun in Halo. Halo's dead.
Not for about 2 decades they haven't.
Yeah, Halo's dead. Fucking goddamn it. Fucking they killed that franchise. All
Yeah.
right. So last one, and I have it on the show notes written as, "Oh no, they didn't. They fucking didn't." Limited Run Games apologizes for CDR discs after fan outcry, says it's working on press disc solution. So without
Yep.
even reading the article, immediate thoughts.
Not surprised. Scumbag company does really dumbass scumbag shit, and they're not going to suffer any repercussions for it because they seemingly get out of everything. So
Yeah, so to put context on this article, so Limited Run Games, the company known for this is from IGN, by the way. Limited Run Games, the company known for selling limited run special edition quantity. Okay, has issued an apology after fans complained that they were having issues playing the physical re-release of the game D on the original. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. This is a really dumb article. The fans were bitching because like Limited Run Games did a re-release of D on the 3DO console,
mm-hmm.
and several X/Twitter and Reddit pointed out the problems, including Twitter user Todd Nerdcave, who noted, excuse me, the company is putting 3DO games on CD recordable discs instead of press discs. They won't even work on real hardware, they added. Somebody also tweeted, LOL, at Limited Run Games is shipping out 3DO games on CDR rather than press discs. And the best part is they won't even work on real hardware. For those unaware of the difference between CDR and press disc, the former are blank discs that can that can record data using a CD burner, and at the same time, the latter has permanently encoded code on it. So basically, a press disc has the permanent stuff on it. CDR, you can rewrite that shit and basically put like an Evanescence CD on your game or whatever the fuck you want to do and fuck your shit up.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they're doing this, there's two things that make this funny to me. Who in the world are there? Like 5 3DO owners? Like Limited Run Games put out a re-release of 3DO or of D on the 3DO. So anyone who doesn't know what D is, it's like a really shitty horror game with like really shitty fucking FMV cutscenes and really it's a bad game, dumb game.
All they make is fucking
Yeah,
limited run games. Almost exclusively makes games that nobody cares
yeah.
about.
So the fact that it's D and then the fact that like, oh, we're pissed about the 3DO released. Who gives a flying fuck about the 3DO? Nobody gave a flying fuck about the 3DO then. Nobody
Yep.
gives a flying fuck about the 3DO now. So the fact that this was even like greenlit is wild. Then the second thing, how don't you know enough about a product you're releasing to know it's not going to run on the original hardware? Like how don't
Because
you
they
know that? Like,
did,
how
dude.
do
They
you do that?
fucking knew. They knew, and they weren't expecting anybody to actually put it in their 3DO because no one fucking has a 3DO.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. They absolutely knew. kidding me? No one in the pipeline of limited run games was like, "Hey, this is an issue." No, they fucking knew.
Yeah,
Someone was like, "Well, yeah, no one's gonna notice."
and the shit that sucks about limited run games is like, as a company, like the concept of limited run games, they do cool shit. Like before they did that nut stuff to fucking the girl firing her for basically,
Carolyn,
yeah, they fired her because she upset a brony or whatever the fuck she did, something like along those lines. um, People really liked limited run games. Like, you know, overall they had like a good reputation with the gamers because they did stuff people liked. And I get sometimes like it's I haven't bought a limited run game since they did that, but it's really hard sometimes. Like when you see their stuff, you're like, oh, that's really cool. I would like that, but then you're like, wait, no, I can't give them my money
yeah,
because they've done some cool stuff. Like I love that they did a re-release of Cosmic Fantasy, and you know, some of these like really obscure games, they give them life again, and that's cool. But in the same token, it also takes forever to get your game. So if you order a game from limited run games, be ready to get that shit in like a year. Like you're not getting that day one. Like you're not getting it in a timely manner. They're always late on the stuff they sell. So it's just like it's frustrating. I remember I got the last thing I bought from them was TMNT Shredder's Revenge Edition for PS or for Switch, and it took me literally a year to get it. And like I think
dude,
they're still, it's pathetic.
they're a pathetic, shitty company that does pathetic, shitty things. I don't
Yeah,
understand how they're still in business. You know,
neither do
like,
I, because like they have nothing but bad press anymore.
well, and it seems like it's just a bunch of people that fucking buy things no matter what, dude. Like,
Yeah,
and I'm not convinced a lot of their product doesn't go to resellers. You know that
100%.
that's
A lot of their stuff goes to resellers. You see it all the
and it's
time.
like,
You see it all the time.
just disgusting behavior from them. I hate limited run games. I hope their whole fucking company burns to the ground eventually. Like they need to collapse
I
for the
agree. I
betterment
don't
of the
like
human
them.
race.
I don't like them. I will never buy another limited run game. Anything, even if they put out something I would really want, I would never buy it from them. Like I just can't
Yep.
do it.
Yep.
So if you're, I wish like a company like Play Asia would kind of get into that space and take a lot of their shit. Because if you like Play Asia, obviously does stuff only from Japan, but
They do sometimes.
yeah,
Plays does some physical stuff.
I feel like if I wish they would get in there and kind of like start bogarting that market because that'd be great.
Yep.
Because it's just so hard to like, it's so hard to like want to not buy limited run game stuff because they do stuff like they have stuff I would definitely want, but it's like you vote with your wallet and you got to stand on business. And I don't fuck with companies that do nut shit that fuck over their employees for because they upset some fucking weird community. Yeah, bronies, you're weird. Sorry. Or and if you're a furry, you're weird too. Fuck off. But
Yep.
so yeah, that's just where we stand. So special fuck you to limited run games. Yeah, we don't like you. And get fucked. Any
Yep.
more comment on that?
I'm commenting on their latest tweet with does it also come with a literal slap in the face from you guys?
All right, yeah, might as well bitch smack your fucking customers when they fucking give you the money. Like, oh, you gave us $60, pow, right in the kisser. So, man, it's been a good show, buddy. I really enjoy. I really enjoyed our Final Fantasy talk. That's always my favorite stuff.
Yeah,
We get to sit down,
me
go
too.
down memory lane a little bit, and fucking back in my day.
Yep, me too.
We feared Tonberries. Or now you see a Tonberry, you're like, eh. So, with that being said, check us out on our YouTube channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to check out the podcast Seth was on, it was called Turn Based with Eric.
Turn based with Eric Ladd. Yep.
Yeah, check him out. He's a great podcaster. That talented son of a bitch. Got a great voice.
Natural fucking radio voice. It's
It
ridiculous.
genuinely upsets me how more talented he is than me. It's like
Yeah.
it's a little emasculating, but it's fine. He's a great guy. Great
Yeah.
podcast. Does really good music too. That
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so great guy. We should get on the show. Get him on here so I can tell him
I'll
how
ask.
else I am. I just want to just get him on for 10 seconds. Like, listen, I just want to tell you it upsets me how much more talented than me you are. Just wanted you to know. Great stuff. And just end the show.
Yep.
But yeah, check us out on YouTube. Check Seth's appearance on Turn Based over on Eric's stuff. We could probably plug it somewhere in the video.
Yeah.
And then check us out on Facebook. We're at Alpha Nerds Podcast. Check us out on Twitter. We are at Alpha Nerds Prime. You can follow us on Twitter. Seth is at Seth the 90s Kid. I am at Blame Beltron06. So check us out there. And remember, guys, when in doubt, square up, throw down.
Peace.